All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Megan ZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another exciting episode of my ZardCast podcast series. That being my episode 76. And at first, when I was going through and trying to figure out what we're going to talk about in terms of our gaming news and everything else that happened within the past couple of weeks, I was almost worried I wouldn't be able to get a full list of things. But I think the points we are going to bring up tonight are going to be powerful enough. It's going to carry the show itself. We got to talk about Apple allowing some emulators up in the mix, though. That Xbox Series system that's going to be like an all digital white system. Apparently that leaked, so I want to say a couple of things on that. And then obviously the biggest talk of the news around the town is the Wii U and the 3DS's online servers essentially are going to be shutting down literally tomorrow at the time that we're going live here with this podcast though. So I'm just going to go through, give some of my thoughts on just the closure of it, as well as just the whole entire experience with the Wii U and 3DS in general, because with the eShops and this close, yeah, it's an end of an era. It's an end of an era. But I won't be doing this here alone. I got my good buddy over here, Steven. How's it going, man?
Going good. What's up?
All righty, man. What you been up to today?
I been playing some more Wii U before the system is shot dead.
Dang. Yeah, because we actually played a little bit more. Like we streamed, and it's there on my channel. I went through and streamed some Mario Maker. I also streamed some Splatoon as well as some Super Smash Brothers. And I streamed it for golly, almost about 3 hours. So you can check that out there on the channel though. But then after the fact, today, me and Steven, we were playing some Smash Brothers. And we'll probably talk about more of it once we get to that segment though. But oh man, it's truly gonna be an end of an era, man. But yeah. All righty. Well, we might as well go ahead and jump up into this show, though. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that culture segment. All right, Steven. So, you know, in the past couple weeks we had April Fools and stuff. And before we even talk about some of the cool gaming announcement stuff, which sometimes some gaming companies out there happen to put out some really good ones and stuff. Steven, are you a fan of April Fools?
Yes, I always love, especially nowadays when companies actually do cool stuff for it. Yeah, of course I am. In person though, I don't like I haven't pranked anyone. I worked on April Fool's Day, and it would have been I should have like pranked people at my job, but I don't want to get fired.
Bro, you
So
should have said, "Hey, look, the bills turned out to be $100," and have people go like, "Wait, what?"
I think my dad, no, my dad, my stepmom told me that for April Fools she made a fake resignation to one of her coworkers, which is like it's fucked up,
Dog,
but it's
dang,
funny. Like, basically just like about basically saying all the stuff that you would before you give your 2 weeks. But then she's like, I've decided I'm going to stay or something.
dang. That
Like,
that's
just
that's the tough way to go out.
apparently
uh,
she made someone that likes her at the job cry for a bit, and I'm like, oh my god.
oh shoot. Okay, it went a step
Yeah.
too far. Dang.
Yeah, no. Yeah, for April Fools when I was a kid, I went way too far. I would like,
I think we
duct tape.
all did.
I would use I would put scotch tape around the entrances of doors and stuff. So you
Wait,
just trip
why would you
over it.
scotch
Like,
tape?
yeah, so it's hard to see, and when when your leg hits it, you either trip or, you know, get some scotch tape on your leg.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I
Basically
was thinking about it a
like
little
a
different.
tripwire.
Oh, tripwire.
Like a
At
yeah, I
first,
guess
when you
that would
said scotch tape, I thought on the door, I thought you meant like you put
cutting
scotch tape over
the
the
closed.
door when it was shut,
No,
and I
no.
was like, "That's not strong enough." Okay.
Yeah, no,
Eh,
definitely not. No, but
yeah.
I was I was a little mischief maker.
I think I remember doing some stuff, but nothing's really coming to my mind. It was just more so like a he said, she said kind of thing, kind of see how people reacted though. But at least within the gaming sphere, sometimes you'll have some clever companies come out with some things. I think the best one I saw, which happened last year, believe it or not, I think it was last year, where they did the whole murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. I found that to be the stupid, most funniest thing ever. And at first I thought it was a joke until it was actually on Steam. I was like, hold up, I don't play a lot of games on PC. or at least before that point, before I actually have a system that actually does it now. But now I was like, you know what? Oh shoot, I'm actually gonna get this on my computer. It runs fairly simple though. And that was the funniest mess. I think that was definitely the highlight of the last year. So I was kind of going into this year like, is anybody gonna be kind of cool with some stuff? Seen a couple of things here and there, but nothing that shine like that though. But the one that y'all can see on the screen right now, that one kind of gave me a good laugh. Apparently, Capcom made a crossover with Honkai Star Rail, and
I seen that.
if you know Honkai Star Rail, Pom Pom being like one of I'd say one of the mascots. It's like between him and like March 7th or whatever though. But Pom Pom like literally being up in the fight menu, and then for some reason he goes in like this mecha suit. But if you tie that to another thing that they made, like there was like a like those kaiju fight scenes, like, like Japan and them are always obsessed about either it's like one of those kind of fight scenes or like a mecha fight you see in a lot of animes and stuff. Apparently, he was like a mecha in that, and it kind of rolled on over to the collaboration with Street Fighter. I was like, what the heck? But I tip my hat to the little stuff like that. If you just happen to be a fan of or know about both of these series, you'll get a kind of a good laugh at it though. But what else did you see out there, Steven?
I seen a couple good ones. One that got me when I woke up was like a video from Nintendo Life talking about a direct that never happened because they titled it like the exact same way that they
Oh,
title
the
all their
psych out.
videos. Yeah,
Mm,
it was a psych out. It had some stupid stuff in there like oh my god, and like it was like a new like Mario Party game, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. A lot of random stuff like that. It was just saying like just talking about a direct that they said was mid,
dang.
a new Donkey Kong game. The video now, when you go to it, it just says April Fool's. This direct did not happen, which it was not
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
And obviously, when I'm half asleep, like holy shit, a new direct. Wait, like did they actually do a direct today? No, they didn't.
I always have to prepare my mind every single time we go into April Fool's. I
Yeah,
was like, all right, the next 24 hours, everything is absolutely fake. I'm not taking any of this real. Everything's with a huge grain of salt. Like we're
I
talking about, making a mountain out of salt over here.
there is one that did get me where the voice actor that used to voice Shadow the Hedgehog uh tweeted out something about Sonic 3, and I thought it was real
Oh,
at
like
first.
the movie?
Yeah, he was like he tweeted out like
Mm,
a picture. He tweeted out like a picture of like Shadow's fist, or maybe it was I don't know. It was like like saying "I am all of me" or something. Basically just like pretending to be like an announcement for him voicing Shadow.
yeah. That's
And
it.
like I was like, I was like, oh my god, he's voicing Shadow. That's awesome. And then I was like, wait a second, it's April Fools. God damn it.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
I've seen a lot of stupid ones. The only other one, well, like one of the other ones that really got me was there's the show Smiling Friends on Adult Swim. It's like a cartoon created by some people from YouTube. Basically they shadow dropped all of season 1 in April Fools of 2022. So then for April Fools of 2024, they released the first episode of season 2 and then they recreated a couple of the episodes entirely with like puppets.
Hmm. Old Muppets, eh? Huh.
Yeah, just like, and like they aired like one by one on Adult Swim at midnight. It was funny because they advertised it like they said something was coming, but they didn't say what was coming. So you got
Okay.
like basically like 4 new episodes. That was like the other thing that interested me specifically. And yeah, there was a lot of like small ones that I liked.
I think there was one other one, at least that kinda caught my eye, and I didn't think I'd be watching it for nearly that long though, but, there was one made by, what was it? The Pokemon Company themselves. It was about a
Oh,
minute long.
how did I
Yeah,
forget?
yeah, no, that
That's good.
Pokemon Sleep one, like, oh shoot, 'cause,
That
we
one's
all know
really
about
good for no
Pokemon
reason.
Sleep. We know about Pokemon Sleep, and I was like, I dabbled with it a couple of times, but never really messed with it too much, though. They basically made an esports out of sleeping, which I know a lot of y'all out there love to sleep. I know my brother likes to sleep. Some people, shoot, they'll probably replace a life with a cat. Like, people just love to sleep. That's just a known fact, though. So to turn around and make a whole esports scene out of it and make a competition and say, all right, who's gonna have the most sleep or the most effective sleep? And then they kind of went into like the different styles of sleep, like like a Charmander one or something like that, or just someone rolling out on the bed, making different analogies to different Pokemon sleep styles and stuff.
It's
It
really
gave me a
good.
good laugh. I was like, okay, I had not known Pokemon Company kind of poke around with stuff like that. But it was actually kind of clever.
I liked the part. No, my favorite part that actually made me laugh really hard was like when it's like the guy standing up on the bed and he's in standing sleep. They go.
I was about to. I don't think, to the best of my
That's not.
knowledge, I think there was one time in my life ever. I think I managed to fall asleep while standing up. But I
I
think
must
like
have been on a. I must
I
have
think I
been like on a bus or something.
I must have been no, I think I pulled like a 24-hour or something like that, and I was waiting in line somewhere, and I was like, "Man, I gotta catch up on some sleep." And I was like, "Someone tap me, wake me up, or
Yeah,
something like that." I don't know, but since then, it's hard to fall asleep just standing up. Like you have to be really out of it. Oh goodness.
yeah, but that video was amazing. Like everything about it. I didn't
Mm.
think Pokemon Company had it in them.
No, I really didn't, because I know they're kind of pretty tight like Nintendo though. But I was like, okay, I'll tip my hat where it's due though. I was like, they got the most unexpected one out of me, at least for this year though. So no, I might have to give it to them just purely for that, because I sure enough wasn't expecting. Whew, but yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
basically it in terms of our April Fool stuff we knows. But anybody else that happen to be listening to this podcast, drop something down in the comment section down below. You found a good one out there though, because I like seeing that stuff. I know some people
one
hate it, but I kind of enjoy it.
one other one I seen, which is kind of funny to me. I didn't even know about this when it happened. I seen this 2 days after. Cyberpunk 2077 announced a version of the game on floppy disks,
What the heck?
which that was funny when I heard that.
That doesn't even sound right. Even as an April Fool's joke, I was like, bro, who even? I mean, unless you're an oldie like me, like who even remembers floppy disks like that? Like, come on now. Oh
It was just really funny to me.
man,
There's a
they should have
a
said that
lot.
was should have came out on like 5 CDs. That would have been at least a little bit more reasonable. But I mean, like, oh
No, but yeah, it was really funny seeing. I don't know. I feel like last year I seen a lot of good ones. Like Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog last year was a really good one.
yeah. All right. Well, here's hoping at least for oh gosh, 2025. Oh, like 25. Goodness. Yeah. So 2025. Here's hoping that there's going to be some good April Fool jokes again. Sega. If you want to make a visual novel Sonic game akin to like Ace Attorney, I'm down for it. Y'all were kind of faking around with it at first. I will legit probably pick that game up on day one, and I know it'll probably be better than a whole lot of other Sonic games out there. I'm just saying, I like that prank quite a bit though. But yeah, that's basically gonna do it in terms of the pop culture segment stuff. Pretty light on that segment though. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that gaming news. All right, Steven. Well, now we're going to go ahead and talk about these Xbox Series system that actually managed to leak. Which the fact that it did manage to leak is, I'm pretty sure this is going to be announced right around the corner, roughly around Summer Game Fest, and probably a couple or a few months later, they're just going to drop it out on the market because don't really see a huge need of this thing unless they're just trying to condition and train consumers within their ecosystem saying, hey, digital is the way to go, though. But yes, apparently the Xbox Series system has managed to leak. It's apparently going to be basically an all digital version of the Series X because the current Series X right now you're able to have digital games and physical games because it has a disk drive up in there. But this one is just 100% all digital, and I really honestly can't say a reason why most people will get this system in comparison to the original Series X that's out there right now, unless number one they take it off the market completely, or two, whoever's buying this hasn't already owned a Series X or S, should I say, at that point, and they just only care about digital games and they don't have any plans or aspirations of owning anything physical though. But what do you make out of this situation, man?
I've said this in the past. I don't like the all digital future. I don't. I'm not excited for this to be a standard, and especially for Nintendo. No, please. Like, obviously other companies like, PlayStation, I'm pretty sure like, Those servers for like those servers for like PS3 and Xbox 360 are just shutting down, while Nintendo is already shutting down the Wii U servers. Like, games that you buy, like, for example, Super Mario Maker came out less than 10 years ago, already getting shut down. Like, games with these online features are just getting neutered, and I really hope it doesn't become a trend.
Yeah, because at
Like,
least the
I,
way
I
how
get
oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say I absolutely get digital multiplayer games. Like, yes, stuff like Fortnite. Yes, I understand having having that physical makes no sense because it's constantly being updated and changed and constantly needs patches. But for single player games, no, I don't want to have an all digital future for that.
Yeah. And I think
This,
more so, I think with Xbox releasing this system as like, and this is like their plans for like a mid-gen refresh. We still know about there allegedly being like a PS5 Pro coming into the market this year. So when you compare these two things and you got a Series X that's all digital, and then you have a PS5 Pro, this Series X all digital ain't gonna do nothing to help, you know, improve performance or anything like that. But at least with the PS5 Pro, even though I still don't think that's 100%, reasonable to the fact of why should anybody get this though, it's still actually going to bring something to the table. It's like a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. But it's like this one, I can just tell with this system, with the way how Phil Spencer's trying to set up this community and stuff. I think it's just more of a way of easing people into this all digital future. Because at this point, I feel pretty confident. I feel like I'm 85% sure whatever comes after the Series X and S, with whatever generation console comes next, I'm pretty sure whatever console that is, it's gonna be all digital. I don't think there's even gonna be a disk drive up in there. Maybe on an offshoot chance, they might pull something where it's like you might be able to just attach a disk drive. So that way, maybe some people out there will be able to have their backwards compatible games. So you'll have to pay a little bit extra to get
well,
that. I
the
wouldn't put
PS
that out, but just straight up in the box, I think it's just gonna be digital.
the PS5 made like both a good and bad idea by having the detachable disk drive thing. Like, I'm iffy on it, but like I understand why they did it.
At least with PlayStation, with the way how they did that, it allows, I guess, a easier there's a lower floor point where you're able to come up into the ecosystem and be able to get a PS5. Like maybe you're just like, oh shoot, like man, I really want to get a PS5, but I can't spend no $500. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
only like a $50 difference between that and getting the disc drive though. But you can ease people in it, say, hey, you can just go all digital at first, and then you can slap on the disc drive at a later given point. You have options, which at least they still give you those options. But to take away something like the way how Xbox does, and especially if they delist the Series X, or not really delist, but take it off the market for the original Series X, then yeah, it's a tougher pill to swallow.
yeah. I don't know. I personally think it's all just like a big load of baloney. I don't like the idea in the slightest, if you ask me. Um, like, I understand the Xbox Series S as like, an option, but it should never ever be like, the only option. So like, I don't know. I got, this is like, from what I'm seeing, this is going to be like a similar like to the Xbox One S, where it's just a complete like remodel.
Yeah, it's just gonna be crazy to see. At least when I was growing up, we had nothing but physical, and then you had physical and digital. And I think within the next generation, instead of physical digital, now it's gonna be like what digital and stream. So not everybody is akin to having digital games though. But if the point rises, which I'm pretty sure we will hit, where there's gonna be nothing but digital games and streamable games, and everybody and their mama's gonna be on the digital games until at one point then everything just goes streaming. I just feel like that's the way how the industry is going to eventually work its way over. However, it's still going to be quite a bit of time to get the whole streamable aspect, stuff figured out though, because like, in companies like Japan and stuff, they have better internet infrastructure. So those streamable games work way better than us over here in the US where, you have some spotty connections here, depending on where you
Yeah,
live at though.
cloud
But
gaming is
yeah,
awful here.
at least for here. I would like to try it out in some of those other countries though. Like maybe when I finally manage to get over there to Japan, which I got to plan a trip over there at some point though. I'll definitely test it out at least at that point though. But nonetheless though, it is a scary but uncertain future, at least for us that really like to own our games though. But just get ready, Steven. Like everything's gonna be all digital. I don't think there's anything else we're gonna be able to do about it.
Yeah, I'm not excited.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a pretty straightforward thing. I feel like we're gonna get this console announced some point within Summer Game Fest. So it'll probably be, a couple or a few months around the corner though, and then they're just gonna drop it out, a couple or a few months after that though. All right. This next one right here actually had me scratch my head a little bit because this news kind of broke out, I would say no later than like what, a couple of days ago, earlier than a couple of days ago. But apparently Apple is allowing, I guess, anybody that normally puts something up there on the Apple storefront, allow people to put emulators on there if they abide by a whole bunch of rules and stuff like that. Have you seen that news, Steven?
Yes, I have.
In which
Good.
say to that, I mean, for the consumer, yeah, that can sound all cool and stuff though, but Apple out of all companies coming out and saying about that makes me really scratch my head because I know Apple's like one of the largest, tech giants out there though. But then I'm pretty sure you got other companies over here like Nintendo looking over here, madam, like y'all said y'all can do what now exactly? Like I feel like that might give them a lot of bit of heat, even though legally there's ways how they can basically allow this to be a thing though. But
Yeah,
at the
you
same
s
point, all your other giant tech heads like PlayStation, possibly Xbox, and a whole bunch of other companies over here looking at them. It's like, "Well, what the heck are y'all doing over here?"
well, to be fair, this isn't like Google does this. Like Google already does this. So if we're talking just tech giants, no, this isn't necessarily that crazy. You know how many emulate First of all, emulators are already on the App Store, but like just technically, they get taken down eventually. But they've always been on the App Store.
Yeah, because I do remember at the time when we had the whole, the Switch Yuzu emulator going down and stuff. I remember at the time there was other emulators, on the Google Play Store as well. In which case, I think some of them actually managed to take it down because of the court dealings and stuff with Yuzu. Because if you were making some kind of monetization money off of this stuff, then that will cause them to be like, well, shoot, I don't want Nintendo coming after me or breathing really hard down my back, so I'm just gonna leave this alone and hightail it and get out for the hills though. But I think outside of that, like most people, I don't know, it's a roll of the dice for sure though. But obviously there's a whole bunch of terms up in here which you have to kind of read down and get into the specifics of all of it though. But like, could you imagine like if they were to have an emulator that was also somehow making money off of it? I don't know. I don't know. It'd be tough to actually kind of pinpoint that one way or the other because with the Apple Store, it's like somehow they got to make money off of this. I don't know how this logistics work though, but I don't think there's really anything you're gonna be able to do to stop it or anything
They
like
don't
that.
You say that they don't necessarily have to make money off of this. They make money off of people buying iPhones to access the App Store.
Hmm.
I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure
yeah,
Apple I don't know. Also Apple takes a pay cut of like, any microtransactions and stuff,
yeah,
which we found
it's
out from
just
the
the
whole
thought
Epic
of
Games thing.
people being able to make money off of these emulators and stuff, and if you happen to throw up a Nintendo emulator for whatever system up there, like let's say if there was like one for Switch at some point in the distant future, and let's say like the Switch 2 is happen to be out by that point, and you have an emulator that's also doing Switch games still, like at that point maybe the system's like, oh goodness, the system's already 7 years old. At that point, maybe the system's like 15 years old or something, but it's still supported through back compat. I mean, Nintendo could look at Apple and be like, "Hey, look now, we don't like exactly what you're doing." I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't know if there's somehow a court case that proves emulation is not legal, which won't happen, maybe. Like
I
I
mean,
don't know. Like it's obviously a possibility. Like, I don't want to have the whole emulation talk for another 30 minutes today, but the consumer is what should matter. The consumer is the one that, you buy $1,000 phone, I'd hope you at least get the option. Like obviously piracy is a big issue, but there are people who genuinely rip their games to play on their phone.
I mean, yeah, I won't
There
put
are
it
people that
past you.
do that.
Yeah, there are some convenient ones, especially the GBA games. Like those are real easy to
I was
do on your phone. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, especially for like Sega Genesis games and stuff, people do actually like, Sega Genesis, if you didn't know, if you get like one of those Genesis collections on PC, they literally give you a folder of ROMs.
Hmm.
Like the games are ROM files in the
Oh,
in the files. You can even insert your own ROMs into like those Sega Genesis collections on PC and they work.
hmm.
Like that's just a thing that works.
Yeah, and I think this is where the dicey thing, like obviously there's nothing wrong with just putting the emulator up on here. I got the actual stuff pulled up in front of me now though, but it was like there's one spot right here where it said, additionally, retro game console emulator apps can offer to download games. You are responsible for all such software offered in your app, including ensuring that the software complies with these guidelines and applicable laws. I think that's where it's really getting some people. So it says, hey, you can do it, but know that if you're doing it, if you're obviously like someone like Nintendo, obviously you can legally do it because you legally own those games. So thus you're providing that to it. But if you're some random old Joe over here offering those games and stuff that could be downloaded, that's where you get into the illegal stuff. So I don't know. You have to really read between the lines, at least what they're saying. So it's like they're trying to allow the emulator, but saying, hey, if you're authorized to distribute the games, you could, but if you give away some game that ain't yours, then we can still take that down from you. That's the main thing I just want to point out.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We'll have to see how this plays out, though. But like most things, it'll probably be like the Google Play Store. I mean, the stuff will happen. You might hear about some stuff being taken down, though. But if you're somebody like me, I don't own anything Apple related. I don't have an Apple phone. I don't have a Mac computer or nothing like that. Like, do you have any experience with Apple in general, Steven, or do you own any Apple
No.
device? No. Like, I know there's, like, Apple Arcade and stuff, and I heard good things about it, surprisingly. But I don't have anything to be able to run that. But, yeah, I think that's basically gonna do it in terms of the Apple talk right there, and now we're finally down to the major news of the night, which is probably gonna take up the most amount of time is, yes, unfortunately, the Wii U and the 3DS's online ecosystem is going to be shutting down, period. Like literally it was about a year ago, this roughly this time last year in 2023, where Nintendo pulled the plug on the eShop. So for a solid year now, roughly, we weren't able to have the ability to be able to go through, buy games off the eShop and download them to these systems though. But now with the online that's completely shutting down, games that you love to play, such as Splatoon, Smash Brothers, or like Mario Kart 8, or even Mario Maker, you have no access to doing those games whatsoever online nowadays. Like this is the last weekend you're actually able to go through and play some of these games, though. That's one of the reasons why I did a stream with Steven on Friday night on my channel, where you can see all of that. And then we also kind of gave it one more run with Smash Brothers just today, though. But how's this making you feel, Steven? Like, were you a proud Wii U owner, or did you manage to sell your Wii U because you're trying to make some money? or
Oh, I did that.
mm,
I did that, but I was still a proud Wii U owner eventually. I
I
eventually
don't know, man. You sound like one of them fake Wii U owners, man. It was a tough time for us Wii U owners back then, man.
fake Wii U owners. Was it really that good of a thing to be a Wii U owner back in the day? Come on.
I mean,
This like
literally, it wasn't. The
uh,
droughts were pretty bad. People tend to typically forget about that. I don't know why. People be trying to defend this system. I was like, no, if you were there day one, I'm pretty sure I got that the holiday season that system came out though. I'm like,
I
oh shoot,
I
it was rough.
I got it for Christmas of 2012. And guess what? I loved my Wii U. But I'm not going to say it was a good goddamn launch. Nintendo hates this thing. Like yeah, they love the games and all because they put how much effort into the games. Nintendo was really trying this generation in everything but the marketing. But the marketing is by far the most important part. Like obviously with the Switch, yeah, good games are a factor, but like I'm pretty sure like the most important factor for Nintendo is definitely making money.
Yeah, I
Like, come
mean,
on, I don't know. most people just didn't buy this because they thought, "Oh, I already have a Wii." That's like, that
Yeah.
but, like, it's weird because the same issue didn't happen with a 3DS. You didn't have people. I didn't hear anyone say, "Oh, I already have a DS. Why do I need a 3DS?" Because it was just the next DS. Okay, it's like, it was more similar to a handheld device. You buy a new one because it gets upgraded. While a home console, like, when you try to market it to the casual fan base who already has a Wii and their Wii still works, why would they buy this?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff that can be said about both of them. So since we're already on the topic of the Wii U, what is wrong with Wii U? Then we'll say the second half of the 3DS because two different things, two different beasts right here though. But yeah, like what you said with the Wii U, I remember whenever I was trying to convince my parents to get a Wii U for Christmas. They're like, "Wait, why would you want a Wii U? We already have a Wii." There was just something off about that marketing thing. I was like, "Oh no, this doesn't sound good." Like literally any other time I taught convince my parents to say, "Hey, I want a DS or I wanted a 3DS or something like that." I mean, they knew instantly the differences between those, but I can just already tell that Wii U wasn't going to live up to the hype. Like that was just my telltale sign right there. I was like, "Oh shoot, though." Regardless of what anybody says about this system, the system UI and stuff like was dreadfully slow. Like we were trying to boot up Smash Brothers to try to get one more good kick out of that game, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" It was like pulling teeth to get this thing to even to boot up. I think it's one of the reasons why the Switch has like a really basic setup in terms of you just turn on the system, you can click on the game and be in it instantaneous. You can even have the game in sleep mode, turn on your Switch, press one button, you're right back in the game. Like I
Yeah, the
love how
fact,
fast it is.
like, it's even better than, 3DS had a sleep mode, but, like, it's just turning off the system. Just closing the system is different from a sleep mode because the sleep mode, to my knowledge, uses way less battery on Switch than just closing your 3DS.
Yeah. So
I
overall, dude, man, I don't know who approved all of this stuff. I'm going back to look at this mess. But I think everything on that generation, even the 360 as well as like the PS3, like none of those systems were extremely fast, like what we can kind of compare to nowadays, though. But I don't know. It's just something about the Wii U. Ooh, man, and even getting on the eShop as well as just going through and downloading a whole bunch of stuff. Like my goodness, it is a dreadful experience. And I'll go ahead and mention this thing already, Steven, since it's bothered the crap out of me like the past few days. I think one of the most scariest things about the Wii U in general, I mean, not only the fact that the system only sold about how many sales was it, Steven? Was it 15 million or
thir
something like
thir
that?
like,
13?
13,000,000, yeah, you're giving it a pretty good estimate.
Okay, yeah. So 13 million. There's not that many of these suckers out there. The fact that sometimes people's Wii U's will either quote unquote break, maybe it needed a new battery or something like that. The fact that, Wii U gamepads kind of get separated from Wii U consoles and stuff like that. I feel like in the secondary market, this console is going to get pretty rare pretty quick. And I think given what enough time, it could actually get fairly expensive, especially when you consider there's two different models of the black model that had the more storage, and you had the white model, which was a little bit less though. But those thoughts aside,
Usually
I
what happens.
noticed yeah, I noticed one dreadful thing with this system, and that is apparently there are some memory chips up in the Wii U that deal or help read and write the information for your save data. If your system is sleep for long enough and you hadn't dusted off that system in quite a bit of time, there is a chance that your Wii U can actually get an error code with that 160 dash something 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 something, basically saying, "Hey, something's wrong with the memory within your Wii U." I experienced that a few days ago when I was trying to get things set up. It was like that Thursday night right before we did that Friday stream, Steven, and it wouldn't let me load up my Mario Maker game, and that was a game I had physically on a disc for the console. I was like, "What the heck?" And the way I had to go around and fix it is I had to delete the update data for the Wii U and re-download that update data. Sometimes it was only the update data, which was cool. Other times, like Smash Brothers, which died on me right in the middle of that stream at the very tail end of it, I had to go back and not only delete the update data, which I was fine with, to re-download it, but I had to delete some of my save data, which actually caused me to lose all of it. And I was like, then I have to re-download it, and then I have to go through and unlock all of the characters and the stages. I'm still missing one stage on it though. I was like, hold on, if this is going to be an issue in the future, imagine if the best of my knowledge, Steven, you can still, if you bought a game on Wii, you can still actually re-download that game on the Wii, right? I think people said that those things are still open, right?
Yeah, like to my knowledge, we re-downloading on the Wii Shop channel is still a thing. I'm pretty sure it's probably like a legal thing. They have to.
Yeah, so imagine if for some reason those servers just broke all of a sudden one day in the future, or we're talking about years and years, like maybe 30 years from now or something. Man, I'll be old by then. But anyway, years from now, this issue happens with somebody's Wii U. It could happen to mine. Gosh dang it. I hope it doesn't though. But imagine where it's like, hey, you got to go back and delete some part of your system memory again in order to have access to playing this game again. And the console just bricks on you. I heard about people's things where I was lucky to be able to actually open up a game. Sometimes people aren't even able to get to that. Sometimes the consoles is completely brick. You have to actually open the thing up and solder it. So I'm like, I don't know. It's just this all digital future. Like I bought games such as like Wind Waker, like for example, or Tropical Freeze. I had those games digitally on my console. And I'm like, wait a minute, if there was a future where I wouldn't have access to those games, that just kind of makes me feel some kind of way. I just had to get that off my chest. I know some people might be going through that issue or might be, looking back at it retrospectively at some point in the future, but I had to get that off my chest. The infrastructure on the Wii U was just absolutely dumb. I don't know. For now, I have all my games on my USB storage because hopefully that doesn't corrupt as easily though. But who's to say what time though? I had to at least get that off my chest. So it was a little side tangent though, but still relevant with the Wii U and what's kind of going on right now. But oh shoot, Steven, take it away, man.
I totally agree with you. Wii U is dreadfully slow, but I love the system. I can't, I'm a Nintendo fan. I love the Wii U, but like I can't say it was good. It really is like family. It has its problems, but you can't help but love it. While the Switch has a lot less problems and is a good idea that sold well. And it has basically all the Wii U games you actually care about.
All of them except for Xenoblade Chronicles X, and actually, I
Yeah.
think that and what was it, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I
Yeah.
think those are like the
Like,
three who are like
yeah,
banging.
but like, on one hand, obviously we have like, we have Splatoon 2, we have Mario Maker 2, but like, the fact of the matter is back in the day, you didn't lose access to the originals. Link to the Past didn't disappear when Ocarina of Time came out, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You didn't lose those games that created the groundwork. It's really for, especially for preservation's sake. You know how important it is gonna be like, years down the line when people want to look back at like the history of Splatoon, and Splatoon 1's just gone.
Yeah, I mean, the only kick out of it you're gonna get is just that single player, but you can't do anything multiplayer, at least to the average consumer, without modding it and doing some,
Yeah.
switching the servers around where you're actually able to play with some people though. But to your average Joe out there, that it's just gonna be dead to them. They're not gonna know how to get up in this, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, and it's sad. I think it's pretty sad.
Yeah, so I mean, while the Wii U did have some shortcomings, at least from the hardware and some of the lack of games for certain series, like we didn't get a Metroid game on here, we didn't get a Fire Emblem game or something like that. Like, it was missing some series on this game on this console. But regardless, what did manage to come to the system, like your Mario Kart 8s, your Mario Maker, which was like phenomenal. I remember just seeing so many Twitch streamers and stuff. I think that was like my introduction to getting into Twitch because so many people were streaming it on Twitch at the time 'cause I didn't even know what the heck Twitch was. I just knew about YouTube at the time though. But that game just blew up. The whole idea of making your Mario levels and then uploading that to the servers and allowing anybody out there in the world to be able to go through and be able to play your levels. Like, there were some really cool things. Obviously, there's the Miiverse as well, which got some kicks out of it. I think some people enjoyed it a little bit more so than myself though. But the features in the games that were here, like your Mario Kart 8s and stuff like that, obviously your Smash Brothers, Splatoon, which was a whole new IP. I don't know how the heck he managed to do that good on this system, considering the install base and stuff. But now it's a runaway series with Splatoon 2 and 3, both roughly selling out about 10 million ish on the Nintendo Switch. But what was there was still golden, even though there just wasn't as much there.
Yeah, I like, obviously, I've seen a lot of people recently now that the Wii U's dying, reminiscing and, like, saying, "Which is better, Wii U, Switch?" People saying the Wii U had more charm, it had more soul, it had a good library. Like, it really feels like people flipped on it. Like, people were just so excited to get out of the Wii U era, but people don't understand, like, it was miserable.
Yeah.
Obviously, Splatoon and Mario Maker are talked about so much because they literally carried 2015. Like, the issue, like, there were a lot of, there was, I'm looking at this list right now. There were 792 games on the Wii U, according to Wikipedia.
Mm.
But, like, I don't know. The fact of the matter is that, like, half of these games probably didn't do well, and half of them were probably not that great versions. I'd say where the Wii U thrived was probably on the eShop. Like, you got a decent amount of games people cared about. Remember, Shovel Knight was the big Wii U eShop game for a while.
I mean, to be
I think
honest, the
came
virtual console on the Wii U was good. Like, you had DS games up on there.
well,
You even had Wii
okay.
games up on there too, which is kind of
I
hard to do DS games because Wii U had two screens, so it worked out beautifully. It'd probably be a little tougher to do that even on the Switch or whatever the next successor happens to be.
Alright, so I wouldn't go that far in saying it was good. What I would say, like, there were issues, especially with apparently NES, N64, GBA, and DS, like on Wii U Virtual Console, had like a bit of a filter on them to make it darker.
Yeah, no, I know about that. I was just talking about
And
the
like,
fact that you're able to play it. I know there's
yeah,
like,
no,
the
you
filters
had,
and stuff made it a little bit weird, which they fixed within the Nintendo Switch versions of
yeah.
some of those games.
DS was a big deal. I was really happy about DS, and I still am. I'm glad they did that. And like them just selling certain Wii games on the system was great. Like, I think they just sold Xenoblade Chronicles and sold Mario Galaxy 2. Like, as a sequel to the generation of the Wii, it was great. Like, it did everything you expect a Wii sequel to do. I think the main issue was the gamepad. Like, I think it hiked the price way too much as it's integral to the system. Like, they should have done a model of the Wii U that was just the system, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And like the system and like a slightly modified UI for the Pro controller. Or even they should have pulled a they should have pulled a 3DS. Remember the 3DS? They did a major price decrease.
Oh, yeah, and I think
Yeah,
what was it? I think the Wii U was 300 and the deluxe version, the black one. I think the Wii U, the white one was
350.
like 250. Oh, no,
No,
350 and
no,
300. Was it 350 and 300 or
yes,
300 and
it was
200?
it was 350 and 300.
Okay, yeah.
And the fact of the matter is the Switch is the exact same price and it's better. It is fully portable. It actually bridges the gap. Like, it was the Wii U in every single way was half baked. It was a prototype for the Switch. Like, they tried an idea and they were like, the second screen thing really works. And it didn't. But they were right about having a handheld console hybrid, just not in the way they were thinking.
Yeah.
And like,
And
obvious and like half the games that people like on Wii U don't even use the gamepad that much. That you can retool Splatoon to be completely gamepad free. And you can't, like, obviously, like, ink strike and like tapping on the gamepad is a thing, the super jump. But obviously it wasn't integral to the experience. While games on the Wii, like with the motion controls were fully utilized. There are some Wii games where it's still not really the same without your playing with motion controls. Same with
yeah.
DS. Like, literally, for DS, I cannot play those games on emulator. It doesn't feel right.
No, yeah, I think honestly the Wii U is probably gonna be the best. Even if you were to modify it and put DS games, the ones that, obviously you weren't able to buy on the eShop or whatever, that
Yeah.
honestly might be the best way and also the best way you can actually stream the games too. Like if you have an Elgato or a capture
DS
device or
games?
something. Yeah, like DS games will probably play the best on the Wii U or
Well, no,
slash
yeah,
if you have
definitely.
a 3DS. It's either one or
That's
the other, one of these two systems, and there's not gonna be a better way outside of these two.
yeah, but, like, if you're just talking about, like, a console, something comfortable to sit down with, DS on Wii U was perfect.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
I didn't have any issues with it. Like, obviously, the resolution you could, like, adjust. You could even play it in vertical, like, with Brain Age. You could hold
Oh
your Wii U
yeah,
gamepad
yeah,
vertical. No, like, it was perfect for that. And obviously, Nintendo is never gonna be able to re-release certain DS games, like, in the state, without, like, a second screen.
yeah.
And
They'll have to go. They'll basically have to rework it. It has to be like a remake or a remaster or something like that. It
like,
won't be
they'd
like the
have to.
original form factor.
What? And, like, I don't know, I think Nintendo's abandoned doing classic editions. They're not gonna do, like, a DS classic edition as much as I think that'd be a good
I can
idea.
see a Nintendo 64 or a GameCube classic in the future though, but like
I could okay.
handhelds, I don't think so.
No,
Handhelds, no.
I could see a GameCube classic. I do not see a N64 classic,
I see an
especially with, like,
N64 classic. Give it enough time. Like
it's a
whatever
selling
comes after the Switch
it's a
successor, so we're talking 2 generations in the future, where there's been enough time and the N64 is really feeling superly,
40
overly
years
old
old,
retro.
yeah.
Yeah, then I can see it. I can
Jesus.
see it. It's
No,
definitely more
yeah.
possible than a Game Boy classic. Like, keep it real. I mean,
No. Something well, they for, like, those handheld systems, you'd have to have true backwards compatibility built in to make it actually cool. Like, Nintendo basically re-releasing the systems at that point with
yeah.
pre-downloaded games. No, but, like, back on track. I love the Wii U. Your Virtual Console was good, but the fact of the matter is, it was nothing remarkable. They were just re-releasing games that were released on Wii, and then they eventually did the DS stuff.
Yeah, that
You,
is
you
true.
know,
And I
Donkey Kong
was
64 was a nice surprise and all, but, like, come on, they could have done more.
yeah. And, I got the list here in front of me. I was like, we'll probably mention a few games, the most notable games, and then talk about a few of them that we really like with online experiences, though. But just real quick, since the Wii U doesn't have like a super strong lineup, it's kind of easy to go through most of these first party games, though. But let me know if you played any of these games, Steven. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival.
Fuck that game. I had it, but I don't like it. I
Oh,
don't
you
like
have
it.
it? Gosh dang. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash.
No, I didn't play that one.
Alright. Nah, I didn't have that one either. Mini Marios and Friends Amiibo Challenge. Oh, I forgot that was a thing. What the heck?
I didn't play it.
Alright, what about Star Fox Guard? I had
I
did
had
you?
Star Fox Guard, and I also beat Star Fox Zero. I like it a lot more than people think. And, it's literally just like Five Nights at Freddy's-esque gameplay. It's fun.
I thought it was pretty cool. It's just the way how the game controlled, I think was like most people's caveats. Like you were just mostly playing on the gamepad, you were pretty fine. But if you start looking on the TV, yeah, your shots got off a little bit. Mario versus Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. What oh, that was a Wii U shot. No,
It was literally just the next Mario versus Donkey Kong, but it wasn't even that great.
Wii Party U. No, I played
Well,
Wii
okay,
Party, the original one on Wii, but not the one
We
on
Part
U.
well, We Party U is pretty good, but, like, that's besides the point. Like, it's a good it's like a good Mario Party replacement. It's genuinely better than Mario Party 10, if that means anything.
It probably is. Let's keep it a buck 50. Wii Fit U. I had the original Wii Fit. I didn't have Wii Fit U. Let's see here.
I didn't I wasn't fit. So, yeah, there you go. That's my answer to that.
Oh, good gracious. Well, what about Wii Sports Club? Actually, wasn't this one the one where it was like you were actually able to buy or not buy? You were actually able to get a free version off of the eShop and then buy individual sports. I remember that aspect. It's in my catalog of stuff I downloaded for the eShop. I don't think I paid for anything up in there. Did you?
No, but I watched Scott the Waz's video on the Wii U, so I know how stupid the payment plan was. You could, like,
Uh,
rent the games. It's just a remake of Wii Sports, but, like, there was a rotation of games available.
that's what it was. Goodness.
They were just trying to appeal to the casual market that didn't wanna buy the game. It was like,
Wait, hold on.
like,
But if it's a rental thing, then what happened when the eShop got plugged and when the online servers are going down?
what do you
I don't
think?
know. I don't have too much. So
They made
that
a
game was just
physical.
basically well, oh, okay. The physical one, I guess you have all the stuff. But if you bought it digitally, were you just buying it just to rent, or could you actually buy it to own?
You could buy it to own for, like,
Oh,
like
okay,
a
okay,
update
okay.
hi inflated price. I hate it. I hate
Hmm.
it.
Okay, yeah, because I think I remember that Sports Pass that allowed you to play it, but it was written. Okay, that makes sense. New Super Luigi U. Actually, you enjoyed that one. I
Good
enjoyed
game.
that one. I had
Good
it
game.
digitally bought separately, even though you could physically get that. New Super Mario Brothers U.
Good game.
Yeah, it was a good game, though I was getting burned out on the Mario formula, at least at that point.
Everyone was.
Yeah. All right, Nintendo Land. Please tell me you had this game.
Yeah, it came with the goddamn system.
Okay, well, I didn't know if you started off with the black system or the white one, but I think you did say you had the black one. No,
Yeah,
this was literally, I would say, top 5 Wii U games in general, especially if you
of
had a
course it
family or
is.
group of friends to play it with, having all those different IPs inspired between, like, Metroid or your Legend of Zeldas and stuff like that. Even Animal Crossing, which I'm not an Animal Crossing fan, but you lay all that candy out and you had me as like the hunters with the pitchforks and knives and then, or with whatever those animal characters is, I will hunt you down and kill you up in that game. There ain't no way
Holy
you're
shit.
getting all that candy. I'm Man, if there was a way how we could play that game, Steven, man, I do not play around with that one though. That Luigi's Mansion one was great. The Mario Chase was great. If you have a Wii U but don't own this game, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like that was the game to have for the Wii U.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was well, yeah. That was why it was a pack-in. It was just that game, people have been saying about Wii U's charm. That game exudes charm.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I did not own the Wii U version, but I got like the version they brought over to the Switch, and I love that. I just never owned the original one. Did you play the original?
Yes, I did. I'm just trying to remember. Yes, I did.
Oh,
It's
pretty.
it's a good puzzle game. I never bought it on Switch because that's literally the only case of they didn't change enough. Like, I already played Captain Toad. There was not enough drive for me to play Captain Toad again to buy it on Switch. I'll get it eventually when I don't care.
Yeah. Now, I think so far I went through and talked about 12 different games. And remind me, Steven, I think on every one of those games I mentioned thus far, I don't think there was a huge, heavy online component to any of those games I mentioned thus far,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Okay, so
the Wii.
it yeah, so it
Oh, I
took
was just
until
gonna
like these
say,
final 8 that we're probably about to finally talk about the online stuff.
yeah, like Wii U was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like if this system released a couple years earlier, yes, I feel like it would have done well. But we were in the age of online gaming and games pushing the limits. We were in the PS4, Xbox One era when games got way bigger and
Yeah,
also more popular. Like Nintendo, obviously did realize that, but for the longest time, it was miserable. Like Captain Toad's a neat idea. It's definitely very Nintendo of them to do a spin-off like this randomly. It's like what they just did with Peach Showtime. Just take one of their characters and make a weird ass spin-off. It's very charming, it's very fun, but like it was just not what people wanted back then. It's the
yeah,
same reason. Remember when everyone got so mad about 3D World? It's not that people didn't like 3D World, it's that there wasn't a big Mario game to fill that gap with. Like 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is really great because it's a nice supplement to play after you play Odyssey. Like, yeah, if you want more Mario, play this.
yeah. Yeah, so back on the list, at number 8, we had Super Mario Maker for the Wii U. Obviously, we already kind of talked about it quite extensively, though. Crazy how you can play in all these different Mario styles between NES, Mario, like the OG first one, Super Mario Bros. 3, World. I think World, out of all of these four, I think World was my favorite style to play as. And then obviously Super Mario Bros. U style. Something that was never done from Nintendo to be able to play, put the ball in the player's court essentially, allow all of us to be able to make levels. And then the online was really what made this game. And then all the crazy amiibo abilities and stuff. I think when this game came out, I felt like even though the Wii U didn't track how many hours I put up in this game, I probably put anywhere between like probably 100 and 200 hours or something like that. And that's saying a lot
Yeah.
for the Wii U.
Yeah, listen, Mario Maker and me, Mario Maker is one of my favorite games ever. Probably. It's probably on the list somewhere. It was a big inspiration to me for like stuff like creativity and how games are supposed to be designed. I watched so many videos like just about like game design, like, escalation of difficulty and all that. Like I was really interested in actually making something fun. Like I wasn't good at it, but like, as a kid, it was a great inspiration. And then, obviously, Mario Maker 2, I remember the day Mario Maker 2 got revealed, I was on like my bed at home watching it, the direct on my TV. I was like jumping on the bed, like throwing shit. I was like, this is, 5 years ago now. I was like going crazy about this game.
And you acting like you never seen a Mario Maker before.
No, but like when I'm watching a Nintendo Direct on Switch and I see Mario World gameplay, I'm screaming about Mario Maker, and then I see slopes and I'm like going crazy. And that first, like, you know what I mean? Like Mario Maker was exactly what everyone wanted. It was the perfect 30th anniversary Mario game.
Yeah.
It did that felt like one of the Wii U's only like big titles. That was something that people played. People bought Wii U's just to play that. That was a game you could play, and like that was some people only played their Wii U for Mario Maker. That's when a system's got like a banger title when people buy it just for one game.
Yeah, that is true.
Like,
Yeah,
every time people bring up the Wii U nowadays, it's like, oh, you got to try this game and that game and this game and that game, and I'm like, no, no, you don't. Like, it's like it has two big games in my opinion, maybe three.
all right, and I think at least for the rest of this list, it's gonna speed up a little bit because some of these games about to mention, they don't really have too much of an online component. Super Mario 3D World. I did not own the original. I got the one on the Switch later on, but originally this didn't have like online play like what the Switch had, surprisingly. But huh. But did you have that one originally?
I did have Super Mario 3D World.
Okay, okay. Pikmin 3. Oh gosh, that was like the Pikmin game right there. I wasn't a Pikmin fan of the sort at first until this one came out. I played a little bit of one, but no, really great game, but they didn't really have an online component really up in there. Um, but yeah, you had Pikmin 3 on the Wii U. Please tell me yes.
Of course I did.
Okay, all right. What about
I bought
Twilight
I
Princess?
Okay, wait, can I say something about
Oh
Pikmin
yeah,
3 on
go
Wii U?
go go ahead.
I you're gonna hate me. I had Pikmin 3 on Wii U. I didn't play it. I bought it and never played it.
What the heck were you doing?
I was a
For us
kid.
to
I didn't
rarely get any
Pikmin
Nintendo IP games, and you're
Pikmin
gonna
didn't
drop the
vibe with
ball on
me.
stinking Pikmin 3?
I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying the
No, I'm just
kid
saying
me didn't
you
appreciate it.
dropped the ball.
I did. Yes, I did. I'm fully admitting, yes, I dropped the ball. I'm not
Well
proud of it per se.
well, Pikmin 3 was like one of the because, this was desperate times for Nintendo. They actually started giving away games for free. Pikmin 3, I remember getting that one for free through via I think it was Club Nintendo at the time though, so I didn't have to pay for it though, but that was a great experience right there. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Do you have that one?
I do own it. I played a little bit of it. I never finished it, but I did actually play this one.
Maybe you can hold out until maybe eventually it might come out on Switch. Who's to say? I had that one on the Wii U. That was great. Midna was really cool using that Wolf Link amiibo, transferring that to Breath of the Wild and stuff like that, having the Wolf Link, pretty cool stuff. Splatoon, obviously now this is the one I say top 3 games for the Wii U that extensively used online, and I know everybody and their mom is gonna miss it if you're a fan of Splatoon. Me personally, not really. I got into it with Splatoon 2, but I can understand the importance, especially how this is a brand new IP from Nintendo, just how well it just took off after the fact. Ooh. So I know you had
Yeah.
that game. So
Oh,
yeah,
I
so
had that. I played that game at midnight. I didn't do that much with many games when I was a kid.
all right. And then this next one is obviously a major one, Mario Kart 8 for Wii U. I
Yeah,
feel like if you had a Wii U, you had to have Mario Kart 8. I think it was given. So I know you had that one.
can't argue with that.
2 was Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. That's pretty solid right there. Pretty solid, but it ain't got no online components. I had that game. I still hadn't played it. Bought it right before the eShop closed just to, make sure I have the best version of that game. Some point I'll probably play. I might be able to get around to it this year because Nintendo's looking kind of light on their releases. And lastly, okay, hold on here. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Wii U. Okay, obviously that was the most recent thing. There's no online component to it. yada yada yada. I know we both own this game on the Switch though, so no need to bind it on the Wii U. But
Yeah,
the
but like
first
it works on Wii U.
it does, but this is like a top 20 list for Nintendo Life, and they didn't have stinking Smash Brothers 4 up on here. Like, what the freak? All right, the true number
Wait,
one
wait,
is
wait, 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 wait. Was Xenoblade X even on there?
and Xenoblade X wasn't even on here too. Like, gosh dang it.
Okay.
Or none of the, obviously there was also the Hyrule Warriors up on here. I know that that was a thing on the Wii U as well. That's not on the list. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Faye, I know that wasn't on the list. I know that you could put up on here too, but none of those games had the online stuff. I'm just more perturbed about the fact they didn't include Smash Brothers on this list. I don't know what they were thinking. But yeah, the big number one game is Smash Brothers, and I know that one would be dearly missed. At times, honestly, the online might have been a little bit better than what we had at Smash Ultimate at
At
launch. I think it's
times.
better. It's better now, but at times, Smash 4 actually had a little bit of a one up on it, though. Oh goodness. But yeah, if you have access to that game, I'd highly recommend just doing it or playing that game maybe one more time, like just for craps and giggles. Just do it at least one more time. But yeah, I went through all of the hot heavy hitters for Wii U. Man, this is the most I ever talked about the Wii U probably since we moved from the Switch. Steven, like, what the heck? But that's like our tribute and our salute to the Wii U because we still got to give a little bit of time to the 3DS, which that's the one that probably more people going to resonate with. But any last departing words for the Wii U?
I love you, Wii U.
I love the Wii U. Now it's time to bury you 10 feet under. I'm sorry, man. You got to go. You're looking kind of crusty. You need to rest. Like you
Listen,
got
listen,
bags
I get
underneath your
it.
eyes. You got bags underneath those dual sense eyes right there. It's time for you to take a well deserved sleep. Oh, all right. Well, yeah, we badgered on. I think there's some things you could love and also hate about the system though, but overall it will be sincerely missed for the most part. Anyway, next will be the Nintendo 3DS. And this one right here, this one really blows because unlike the Wii U, I had a much bigger lineup of stuff. Obviously, you had first party and you had third party support, so it'll be hard for me to do a list like what I did with the Wii U though. But I have to say this in terms of like online supported games, Kid Icarus Uprising was the mess. It was the hot mess right there. Man, you talk about a game that you wouldn't think would normally come from Nintendo, as well as, I think it was called Kid Icarus Uprising. Like you could just tell the tone right there. And it was made by Sakurai himself. The one that runs Smash Brothers in general, helps makes those games. You knew this was gonna be the hot mess. Albeit I know the controls were a little bit whack. But when you had those one-on-one, those free-for-all matches or those team battle things, man, I was saying some words in my young life back then, though, and I was like, man, I either got frustrated or really happy with the teammates I've been happened to get matched up with. I mean, shoot, like I was willing to almost throw some hands at some people at some point. Steven, I played a couple of rounds with you. Let these fine people know how good this game experience is, even though you weren't there during like its heyday.
I haven't played the single player yet. Disclaimer before I talk.
Oh yeah, no.
Um, it controls fine. I don't know why people give such a hissy fit about it. Like obviously, yes, it's gonna work better if it's ever ported. You could even, even just like motion controls for the aiming would be fine. Like how Mario Galaxy does the pointer while you still control Mario. Like they could make any kind of control scheme to make it work. But like it's still fine on 3DS and it looks pretty nice. Like, Nintendo needs to do this more. Like that was a complete revamp of a series. Like it changed what Kid Icarus was. It wasn't just this weird niche platformer from the NES. Sakurai truly was like, you know what? I want to make this a good series.
And then
One that
leave it to Nintendo to leave it on that system. We should have had that mess
yeah,
ported to the Switch. Hey,
yeah.
y'all still got time. Switch 2.
Oh
With
yeah.
dual sticks,
It's
this would
not
be the perfect game. I'm
Here's the
telling you.
thing. This is it's a game for Nintendo fans. I'm sure that it won't sell well. If it ever comes back, I don't think it will be a
I
big
beg to
seller.
differ. You
I
put this game out in the launch. Nintendo, hear me out here real quick. Switch 2, forget about a new 3D Mario game. Put out as a launch day title, thinking Kid Icarus Uprising or brand new Kid Icarus, bring that online mode
like
back and do a little some other stuff. I can guarantee you that sucker's gonna at least sell throughout the lifetime of that system, at least 3,000,000, at least. And there'll probably be more sales than what we got on the 3DS, all things considered, though. Nintendo actually want that to be a thing. Put that game out there before the next 3D Mario, please. All right, that's just a fan of me, but keep going.
Yeah, I like Kid Icarus. You know, from what I've seen, I like the character designs a lot. I know people really like other aspects of it. You know, really like other aspects of it, but I won't get into that.
I think
You
you've
know,
been talking
character
long
that.
enough. I'm about to get these realms back from you though,
But yeah,
because
but
of,
yeah. I was just gonna say I'd love a new Kid Icarus game, but if they keep Uprising on 3DS, like that's fine. Like
all
let the
right.
3DS have at least one.
Okay, I know that was one game. Obviously, the other ones is going to be like you have Smash Brothers for the 3DS version, which we already kind of talked about. Smash on the Wii U. I mean, both of those games are great. Surprisingly, that one holds up fairly well, despite it being on the 3DS. I know, Circle Pad, you might be able to bang it up a little bit though, but that was a cool one.
Oh
But
yeah, like the
Mario Kart 7, whew,
people got their circle pads all fucked up within that game.
yeah, I think Mario Kart 7 is gonna be one that's gonna be dearly missed. I think there's a good community of people that still will play that one. Still makes my jaw drop of how well and how good Mario Kart 7 looked on the 3DS.
Oh yeah.
With having like that HD feel, with it being in the handheld form, despite you had obviously Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U that was full HD. I was like, dang, this still kind of holds up pretty well. Hey, my
It
goodness.
really did it really did solidify the stance of like Mario Kart being Nintendo's tech demo or
Yeah,
like,
because that was
technical showcase.
Yeah, because you got to go in the water. That's when they managed to say, "Hey, you got these gliders, you can fly through the air." Like that was that first little gimmick that we known in 8 onwards and onto 8 Deluxe. So managed to do some first for that, or within that game, and carried it on to other games in the future within the series, though. But man, there was a lot of good things that 7 did. And there are some courses in there that ain't in 8 Deluxe, despite 8 Deluxe having like what 96 or something courses at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Ooh, all right. What else? What else did we have? 3DS game that had like a heavy online emphasis.
Um, damn it. Triforce Heroes.
Okay, Triforce Heroes, a game that I bought before the eShop shut down and still had not managed to play that game online because it doesn't feel like hardly anybody is playing that game anymore. Like what the heck?
Zard. Yeah, we will find the way to play that game eventually. We'll figure it out. Or if they port it, there you go. Or
Well,
you
they
could just play
honestly,
a single
honestly,
player.
that would be a good one just to have for like Nintendo Switch Online. You that or Four Swords Adventures, like the GameCube
Well,
version. Like you got
same
to bring one of those two over somehow.
if they make a new game in that style, so be it. Just like obviously, just 2D Zelda in co-op is definitely like the best way to play 2D
Play
Zelda.
Zelda in general with
Because
multiplayer because otherwise it doesn't really work out.
well, yeah, like that's how you differentiate 2D from 3D Zelda. You give it something cool like multiplayer, especially in the new age when like people obviously don't care as much about 2D Zelda.
Yeah. What you said Triforce Heroes. I'm trying to think of one more. Um, oh, what was another?
Metroid Prime Federation Force.
Okay, that's
I'm
another
I'm
one.
I'm just I'm going out on a limb here. I'm thinking.
There was that. Obviously, everybody and their mom was going to mention, which wasn't on the Wii U. Obviously, it stayed on handheld systems at the time. All your Pokemon games. So, Pokemon X, Y, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, all of those games. That was a lot. All those games on the 3DS, that would be dearly missed. I know for a lot of people, they invested quite a bit of time up in there. Like, what, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, those were like the last games that at that point you're actually able to have every single Pokemon from every previous generation up until that moment. Now, depending on what region and game you happen to be playing in, and obviously, um, obviously at that point, you're just gonna have to oh goodness, I lost my train of okay, here we go. Yeah, obviously depending on whatever game that you happen to be playing, like Sword and Shield or versus Scarlet and Violet and stuff, obviously you can only play whatever Pokemon that are available within those given regions.
Yeah, I love Sun and Moon a lot. And like, obviously that's a whole nother discussion about Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transporter, but like they will be missed eventually. Like the 3DS, it had those heavy hitters that the Wii U didn't have.
Yeah.
You had those games that basically every Wii U owner bought, I mean 3DS owner bought. Like I think Sun and Moon had 13 million copy or like 16 million by themselves. Like more people bought that game than people that bought a Wii U.
Yeah. Yeah, so I
Um,
know I'm trying to think what else is
I
out there.
I know you didn't play it, but Team Kirby Clash Deluxe was like that kind of like just like play with your friends and beat bosses Kirby game, similar to Super Kirby Clash. That was the sequel. Was Super Kirby Clash? If you probably played that, right?
No, actually, out of all the Kirby, I don't think I played a single Kirby
Oh,
game on the 3DS.
Super. Oh
I
yeah.
have Triple Deluxe on there, I just hadn't played it.
Oh no, Super Kirby Clash is the one on Switch, the free one.
Oh.
I didn't.
Oh, no, no,
I
no,
didn't know if you
never
played
mind.
that.
I got Kirby games mixed up. Yes, I did dabble with that.
Yeah,
Let me
that
see.
game. Yeah, that game is pretty good.
Now, I do know
But
there was, like, Animal Crossing New Leaf. I know that one, a lot of people like playing that. Mm, Phantasy Star, I mean, I think we mentioned most of the big heavy ones that kinda carry this. Obviously, you have other ones that are like third-party games, like Fantas well, no, not Fantasy. Like Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I know Alexis was like a big,
I bought. I
fan of
I bought
that.
that. I bought that before the shop went down, just cause.
I think Capcom was doing pretty good on their closing down sales. Like a lot of their stuff, they were selling like for like $5 less. I think I managed to get some of those Ace Attorney games for like $2 or $3 a pop. I was like, bruh. Let's see what else. I think there might be a couple, or there might have been a couple or a few more, but mm,
Kirby Battle Royale was like a mini game esque, like Mario Party mini game esque online game. Um, like obviously like the 3DS, I didn't play that many online games, but like the ones I played, I love. Like Smash 3DS, I played how much? Animal Crossing New Leaf had those like those whatever they were, dream suites, I think. You like visiting other people's islands or whatever.
yeah.
Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is a big one. If only we could get to that.
Yeah, I mean, which that one's cool because of the fact that how well, obviously, it would have been something that would have been lost, but now we're getting it remastered, brought to the Switch. So
Yeah.
that one won't feel too bad of a burn. But if you like playing in that 3DS form factor, then I guess that might be a little bit something you might miss. But it's not nearly as bad as something like a Kid Icarus, where it's just gonna be up and dead, and that's gonna be it. There's no alternatives,
Okay.
or
So I
not
just
easy alternatives. But yeah.
we already we already talked about it for Wii U, but apparently Wii Sports Club did have online.
No,
So you could
I
play
think.
the original Wii Sports games with online. We might have I forgot if we mentioned it.
Oh, you know what? I don't. Yeah, we mentioned about Wii Sports Club, but we didn't say, like, whether or
Yeah,
not
it's
you could
just
actually okay.
yeah, it's literally just a HD Wii Sport. It's like a remake of Wii Sports they made. Like like obviously like the best way to play Wii Sports, but hardly anyone played it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on it was online and it was like HD. It was a pretty good way to play that. Back to 3DS though. Um, like yeah, there wasn't a lot of big ones, but like Mario Kart 7 was really like Mario Kart 7 and Pokemon kind of carried, honestly.
Yeah, they typically do, at least for the most part, and I think that's what a lot of people remember it as, but obviously, there's a whole slew of stuff, even when you get
Oh,
to, like, the eShop exclusive stuff, where people are gonna probably remember a few games that obviously me and you might not
I,
be privy to, but yeah.
okay, so forget what I said. I forgot about Mario Golf World Tour and Mario Tennis Open. Pretty good, honestly, pretty good tennis and golf games like we got on 3DS. And once online communications are turned off, there's some QR codes in Mario Tennis Open you just will not be able to get anymore.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking, like, you could still scan those if for some reason if you had, like, the QR in front of you. Wouldn't that still technically be possible with the Wii U
I,
gamepad?
I'm pretty sure you do it through online in that game compared to Pokemon.
Oh,
I think
mm,
Pokemon. Pokemon, you could still like get Magirna, for example, like that.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
I got you.
No,
Oh
but like
yeah,
those games are pretty good, honestly. Mario Tennis Open, I did play a lot. That was my first Mario Tennis game because I Mario Golf, I had the one on GameCube as a kid, Toadstool Tour. I liked that game. But Mario Tennis, my first one was open.
yeah.
Um yeah, the Monster Hunter games. I'm just seeing like what other people played because what I played on 3DS isn't a good way to gauge it. Um Fire Emblem Awakening apparently had online. It probably wasn't traditional online, was it?
Well, with Fire Emblem, and I was about to get to that
Multiplayer?
here in a second. It's not like traditional multiplayer. I know with Fire Emblem Fates, you had like these communities and stuff, like where actually able to like lay out some of your buildings and stuff, and you did like you could raid other people's home bases, and you can kind of see if you could take down some of
Nah,
their establishments and stuff and knock out their people and stuff. So I know there's a little bit of that, but it's not like active like 1v1s. Like if you want to go
yeah.
to the active 1v1s, I think it's like Shadow Dragon on the DS you could do that, and a couple of the GBA games like Sacred Stones or the original Blazing Blade, I think is where you had some of those. Like you can actually do that on the NSO app right now. Like if you got some units built up, you can actually do some of those modes. But nah, for the most part with Fire Emblem, this is more so which that got affected when the eShop went down was all the DLC in terms of like some playable maps, some paralog battles, and then obviously like whole entire DLC things such as like the Revelation route that you got in Fates and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's more so on the eShop side, but I mean at the end of the day, it's kind of part of the online in general though. But yeah.
Yeah, no, another one I was seeing, secret bases in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is kind of a big one. Like, I think locally you could maybe see people's secret bases. Um, I'm just looking at a list right now because there's a lot of 3DS games I never bought. 3DS and Wii U, it was that era when like I sold my game. I would sell games to get new ones. It was uh a lot of stupid ones had online, like the Sonic games on 3DS had like online race modes. For example, like Sonic Lost World and Sonic Generations you could play online technically.
Yeah.
And you didn't mention this yet, so I'll feel free to mention it. There was a lot of games that had just leaderboards in general.
Oh, yeah, easy stuff like that. Yeah.
Like so many games had leaderboards that are just gonna be lost. Like who like had the fastest this on this.
For some people out there, that might be a blessing because they'll have been like, dang, that one person was in second place and they could never manage to beat the person in first place. It's like, yeah, man, it's time for you to be dethroned. I don't know. I mean, outside of that, I mean, yeah, it would be a little disappointing to kind of lose though. But yeah, oh shoot, even Hyrule Warriors Legends on the 3DS apparently has some online stuff to it too.
Probably just like receiving stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Wind Waker HD did that those like Tingle, other like those Miiverse bottles? Was it only Miiverse or was there just like online ones as well?
I can't remember. I
I
know
don't
it
know.
was something with Miiverse,
Yeah,
but yeah,
we didn't even mention, Miiverse was like a whole nother thing that was already shut down. It's like so many games just lost features once those shut down.
yeah.
This is why this is why smaller single player focused games will last and tell they'll stand the test of time a lot better.
Yeah, they sure will. I think honestly, outside of that, I felt like I made most of my peace with the 3DS. I mean, shoot, I might, for all sakes and purposes, might just because technically, when the eShop or not the eShop, when the online servers go down, it's going to be 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, my time, 7 o'clock for you over there off the East Coast, Steven. And that's when they're going to go and shut down, though. So if you had to pick one Wii U or one 3DS game, you're going to probably play until the last second before it shut down. What would that be?
If I had my last 3DS or Wii U game,
Yeah, well, like
just because
between one or the other, what would be that one last game you got to give it one more go?
I'm gonna download all my Mario Maker 1 levels onto this Wii U so I never lose them. and then I'm also gonna play Splatoon 1, and I think
Oh,
that's what I'm
Splatoon
gonna
1.
be.
Okay.
I think I'll be playing Splatoon 1 tomorrow. It's a tie between Mario Maker and Splatoon 1. I think maybe just because I can play Splatoon, I think I'll maybe just do Mario Maker because there are differences between Mario Maker 1 and 2.
Mm,
But
okay.
like when 3DS and Wii U Online shut down, I fully intend on using Pretendo, the custom servers, or testing it out at least.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go. At least for me,
It's
I feel like Kid Icarus Uprising. I got to do it. I got to do it justice. I got to get in there and do it one more time. And if I were to pick a Wii U game, I might just do Splatoon for the novelty's sake. I felt like I smashed myself out within like the few battles
it's
I
too
played with you
slow.
and the other stuff. I was like, yeah, no, some of the Ultimate has made that game look pale in
Yeah.
comparison. It's not that
No,
it's a
but
bad
like
game. It's just
no,
I got some
no.
bad habits engraved in me from Ultimate that it's hard to
Yes.
break going back to Smash 4. Whereas if I were to pick up Melee or if I were to pick up Smash 64 and play those normally, and my Ultimate habits ain't gonna affect the way how I play in those two games. But yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Wii U and obviously the one that was built off Brawl, like those games casually playing with items are so fun to this day. Like I love playing those games with items. Like I don't take Smash seriously at all. Like even when I'm doing one on, I do one on ones, but I actually do like doing 4-player battles once in a while, and it's so fun. So Smash Wii U did its job, and it had so many, those trailers for Smash Wii U. Every Nintendo Direct, it
Oh
was like the big
goodness.
thing.
Ugh. Yeah,
Like
that was the stuff.
Smash Smash Wii U kept Nintendo like at least in the talk. When Cloud got added, when Bayonetta got added, those were big. Like, people that didn't own Wii U's, cared about that. And there were so many people that only bought a Wii U for Smash. Like, oh,
Oh
the
yeah,
next
that's
Smash
true.
game is on Wii U, gotta buy it. Like,
Yeah.
it was like that was probably, in my opinion, it probably was the most important game on Wii U. While Smash Ultimate, I can't say that about the Switch. I can't say that Smash Ultimate is the most important game on the Switch. That honor probably goes to like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like, games that like define, like when I think of Wii U, I think Smash Wii U. It's literally in the name. They like people made fun of the name back then, but I actually do think it's a clever name. It's Smash 4, but it's also Smash 4 Wii U.
Oh, I didn't even think about it like that. Huh.
Like,
Yeah, that's cool.
both. I didn't think about it for a while, but like it was a good naming scheme. I seen people saying, oh, it should have been called something cooler, or this and that. But yeah, Smash Wii U is definitely one of those games where yes, I'd love to play it a couple times tomorrow, but it's just not something about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something
So I
about Smash Wii U is off.
Yeah, so I would say for the most part, I think we kind of made our peace with the Wii U and the 3DS. Both were great systems. Obviously, one was better than the other in terms of like system UI and all this extra stuff and whatnot, and being able to load up your games fast and actually be able to
Yeah.
download them at a recent speed though. But like, gosh dang, one of my
Rest
pet
in
peeves
peace.
was like when you were downloading games like off of the 3DS, like why the heck did they say it required that many blocks? I don't know. That just turned the mess out
Well,
of me. Say what should have been megabytes and
no,
gigabytes, but like, oh man.
no, but, like blocks were just like trying to make it simpler. Like, oh,
They're
it's
trying to
this
make it
many blocks.
simpler, but in all ways, they've made it more complicated for me. I just want to know how big this sucker truly was.
I just like if you format like a 128 gigabyte SD card and then you put it inside of your 3DS, it just shows like like multiple hundreds of thousands of blocks, and it looks funny.
But yeah,
But
I think we made our peace. Huh.
yeah, I guess I think one last thing: did the Virtual Console 3DS Pokemon games have online trading and battling?
I mean, not online, like original red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal. You couldn't trade those online, so to say, but you can trade them locally with whoever you had. Like I remember I had
Okay.
like what was it? Kadabra, and I traded it with my brother's copy to evolve into the Alakazam and then traded it back, I think in my Pokemon Yellow experience though. But yeah.
Yeah, and then The last one we didn't I kinda touched on it earlier, Pokemon Bank is very important for bridging that gap, and they need to think of an alternative, in my
There
opinion,
ain't gonna
because
be no alternative, Steven.
no,
Look,
but, like,
we're gonna come back to this topic 3 years from now. It's
when
gonna be like a
Pokemon
couple
Bank
of
is shut
years
down.
after the Switch 2 comes out, and they're gonna be like, "You know what? We're just killing it. Pokemon Bank's gonna be dead." But at that point, maybe they'll bring over Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal over there to the modern stuff. Obviously,
I know,
you'll still have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl available within the ecosystem where you can
but,
still
like
move your Gen 4 Pokemon. The real question will be the Gen 3s. Is like
like,
at that point, maybe they'll give us Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald as part of like some kind of virtual console thing, and then put that where you can dump it on Pokemon Home, and then
like,
they're gonna say, "All right, we're good."
I know that obviously moving a Pokemon up from Gen 3 to Gen 9 is kind of annoying, but I still really like the novelty. I think it feels important. It feels like an adventure. Like in Gen 3, I'm pretty sure you need to you need to beat the game. I think most of those old Pokemon games you needed to beat the game or get to a certain point to where you could transfer from previous games, which I thought was really nice. I thought it was a nice reward.
I mean, if
Now,
they really wanted to future proof it, they would have kept the old system and had a newer version where it's like you had a
no, I
cloud
know.
based version and you can still transfer from like what 3DS to
Well,
Switch. If they did something
I
like that, then yeah, it would have
I don't
been
know.
possible. But
No,
no,
they you definitely could have done it. There's 3DS to Wii U compatibility,
I'm saying
and
yeah. I mean, they could
yeah.
have done 3DS to Switch, but they didn't
Oh
do
wait,
it at the time. They went via
wait, wait, wait,
online
wait.
servers.
I just thought about something. Isn't there like don't you connect your 3DS to your Switch to do Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, well, no, not necessarily. You're not connected it from the 3DS itself. You have a Pokemon Bank account that's already up in the cloud. And when you're logging into your Switch to get into Pokemon Home, Home goes straight to the bank database. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
talking directly to the 3DS.
Yeah.
You went from
But
3DS to the bank and then
yeah,
bank to the home.
all Nintendo had to do was release an application, like a new application that just allows like well it didn't even have to be online. It just had to allow the Switch to talk to the 3DS locally, and then that could have worked.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just don't think they're gonna do it at this point. They're just gonna kind of
Yeah,
move on. It's just gonna be a new
I know.
axing of, original Gen 1, Gen 2 gonna make the jump. Now original
Yeah.
Gen 3 almost all the way up to Gen 7 actually now
Well,
won't be
no,
able to make the jump
once you
until they
transfer
put
from
like a virtual console or something.
well, to this day, getting from Gen 3 to Gen 4 is the hardest because you need to have a DS Lite. You need to have
Or
a
the
DS
OG DS. It's
yeah,
one of the two.
you need to have an OG DS or DS Lite to get from Gen 3 to Gen 4 consistently. Then, Gen 4 to Gen 5, I think it's like
It's just
wireless.
two
I think
DS. It's just two
yeah,
DSs.
it's two DSs, and then from once it's in Gen 5, you just use Poke Transporter, and it's pretty simple because it just uses the PC boxes from Gen 5. I'm pretty sure, and
Yeah.
then you just move it into home from there. Like I like it. I have nostalgia for Pokemon. I have lots of nostalgia for Pokemon, so that's probably the thing that hits the hardest for me is just knowing that Pokemon Bank will die.
Yeah, we'll report on it when it does die, though. But for now, it's still free to use, like it has been for the past year, though. But outside of that's gonna do it for our Wii U and 3DS talks. Just kind of reminiscing on everything in terms of like the games that were offered. Obviously, the most important thing being the online games that are actually gonna be affected. Yeah, one last salute to Kid Icarus Uprising, man, F in the chat for you, man, bro. But
F
now
in the chat.
that's going to do it right there, though. So now we're going to go ahead and transition over to our next major topic, that being our new hot, spicy debate. All right. So before we talk about the new topic for our debate that we'll be discussing for this week, we have to look back at the previous debate that we discussed a couple of weeks back within the last episode. So in the last episode, we discussed what was the best Legend of Zelda game. And between our two picks, it was just a couple of them. We had between Skyward Sword and A Link to the Past. And Steven, what do you think managed to win this one?
I I don't know. I think I'd have to assume maybe Skyward Sword because it's newer.
Oh
You there,
yeah,
Zard?
yeah. Had a phone call pop up here at just the last second though. But
No, that's
um,
fine.
but yeah, no, between the two of them, yes, my Skyward Sword managed to win. And it came in, it was a close call, Steve. It was really close. 57% to 43%. I was like, "Holy shoot, finally I got one." I was like, "No, nah, I've been disappointed. My boy Skyward Sword over there didn't manage to win that one though." So honestly, really tough debate, but I think we both had some solid arguments, at least for both of them though. So honestly, some really good stuff. All right, so for this week's debate, we're going to be talking about what is the best Donkey Kong game out there. I left it up where it could be 2D, it could be the one 3D game, or it could be spin
Yeah.
off something Donkey Kong because
Eh,
apparently Nintendo ain't talking about Donkey Kong. I need to kind of summon this to be in the wheelhouse where it's like, hey, it might be a Switch 2 game. I just gotta bring it to Nintendo's attention
So
though. So we're gonna talk about it here in this podcast.
so hypothetically, I could try to make an argument for Donkey Kong King of Swing on the DS.
I mean, you could.
That's all I needed to know.
All right. So same thing like last time. Obviously, this is all just for fun and stuff. This is for craps and giggles though, but it just kind
For
of allows
funsies.
us to be able to, talk about some games that we kind of hold close and dear to our hearts though. But then kind of put a spin on it because it's like I don't know about this stuff until like literally right before we're about to do these debates and stuff. So it's kind of off the cuff. What can you remember purely out of your mind? That's the challenge of it.
About
It's
the
like
game?
what can you remember about the game and what can you remember about your opponent's game when you do the whole rebuttal and stuff about it, of how quick you can kind of bounce off of that? There are debates where you literally have to go off of very little information and just do it like that. So I just kind of pulled a little spin of inspiration from that though. So last time I went first within the debate. So this time, Steven, I believe you get to go first. So let
Hell
the people
yeah.
know what game you're gonna be talking about.
Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about the one, the only Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Oh,
It
oh, this is
released
gonna
on
be. Oh
Wii
my gosh.
and
Okay,
and
this is
also
gonna be. Ugh.
and also, released on Wii, released on 3DS. But like, they're the same version for the purposes of this.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, whenever you're ready, I'll hit start and you'll have 4 minutes. So take it away.
Oh, wait, it's like now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So Donkey Kong Country Returns is a very nostalgic game for me. I love, putting aside the nostalgia, I think it was just a great return to form. It feels like Donkey Kong Country 4 in every single way. Retro Studios perfectly encapsulated everything I liked about Donkey Kong Country. I like how lived in the world feels. Every level is masterfully crafted to, kind of work into itself. It feels natural. Like everything, there's no floating platforms or anything. Everything's held up by like something. The world, you can interact with it and change stuff. The game visually is fantastic for the Wii. It is one of the most visually impressive Wii games, and even on 3DS, it's pretty nice looking, even pixelated as it is. Um, Music, oh my fucking god, I love this game's soundtrack so much. The Rocket Barrel theme, some of the boss themes, just the main level themes, like just the jungle hijinks theme in this game is great. There's so many good ones. Um, the some of the level gimmicks are crazy. Like there's that one level with the giant tidal wave that you have to hide behind stuff, or else you just instantly die. The swimming levels are relatively good. It's one of the only games I actually like underwater levels in. I love the theme of the sixth world. There was like this one where it's like I don't know, like this wasteland or whatever. It's like it's not tar, but like I'd have to play the game again. But like the sixth world, I remember really liking. I like how the Kong letters have actual importance. Where getting all of them in a world gets you a secret level. And those secret levels are really good tests of skill. Specifically, the fourth one with all of the spikes and the jewels is really hard. Um, the boss fights in this game like are a really good blend of cinematic and like fun gameplay wise with easy to learn patterns. Nice trial and error, but like, being able to punch them at the end as much as you'd like is really fun. I like how they all have like a bit of a central gimmick being like like the tiki minions of the big bad guy. And the final boss, generic as it may be with just being like a face and hands, it's like the classic Nintendo boss. The ending of that game is peak. Like Donkey Kong punching the moon into the final boss's head is so good. It's so stupid, but I love it. And it makes the final boss of this game is probably like my favorite Donkey Kong final boss since K. Rool and DK64. Everything about this game I really like. Obviously, I wish it had like more like traditional staples of DK, but like the Kremlings and stuff. But like everything it introduced and like the way it standardized the gameplay, it just feels so good. It feels like the evolution that Mario should have had when going to the Wii. Like instead of, New Super Mario Bros. Was a relatively tame platformer, while Donkey Kong Country Returns took everything I liked about Donkey Kong and just made it better. Like, like it feels really nice to play. And it's got motion controls, yeah, but they're not bad. If I'm talking about the 3DS version, the 3DS version's also pretty good with them. It's not like people act way too much about the motion controls, but they don't ruin the game at all. I think it's fantastic, if you ask me. Everything about that game I like. Like some of the level themes, definitely are a little derivative, but they do unique things in the levels themselves. So that makes up for that. I love it. I'm gonna end it there.
All right, you did pretty good. You did pretty good. You had like 5 seconds left, so
Wait,
that's
can I
not
say
too.
something for 5 seconds? Can I say
No, it's
one
too
thing for
late
five
because
seconds?
your 5 seconds is
Damn it.
gone now.
Shit.
All right, all right. So, all right, that was pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Oh, I gotta reset it. I gotta change. 3 minutes. All right, here we go. All right, Steven. Well, you thought you had a solid debate, but I must say this. Because let me go ahead and break it to you straight right now, Steven. Because the fact that you mentioned about Donkey Kong Country Returns, the whole point about a return right there is that they had the name up in the title, Returns. But is this really the return of the DK trilogy that we've known to love and appreciate with Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, and Donkey Kong Country 3? Donkey Kong Country 2, I would say honestly, is a better with what they actually introduced in that game in comparison to Returns. Now, hear me out on this though. Obviously, there are some people out there that aren't naturally going to be able to, handle, motion controls in general. The fact that you have to move and shake the Wii remote to move around as Donkey Kong, like, no, I felt like that was a little bit unnecessary. Maybe you could have just did it by just having a little bit of button. I don't know. Just leave it up to the Wii craze, where it's like you got to have a little bit of motion up in it, though. But did like the little Donkey Kong Pound thing though, but to have like a lot of movement to be dictated by just moving around the Wii remote and stuff, I don't know. You did mention about the final boss up in there. Why the heck? If you're saying this is return to form though, we saw how crazy the iconic fights were for King K. Rool in the first, second, and third games. Why in the world are you going to go back to the old school, overdone hands and face boss? Like I don't know why. We had that mess over there in Mario 64. We have it even in stinking Mario Odyssey right now. Like, times change, but they still like to do the same old thing. I don't know. They just kind of took it down from a uniqueness flavor though. But you had these Tiki guys over there as like your main antagonists. They show up more. I don't know. They just didn't quite do it for me in terms of like the Kremlings. Like I always thought the Kremlings was a little bit better, retrospectively looking like that. I don't know. That's just kind of me though. But even when I go through and I was playing through Donkey Kong Country Returns, art style looked okay, but you can kind of tell with the Wii graphics. I'm basing this off of the original Wii version, by the way, though. I don't know. It was just something a little bit off or something a little bit off putting, though. But even though Donkey Kong games are known for their difficulty just a little bit more so, I do feel like some of those levels you manage to do when you do manage to get all of the Kong letters and stuff, think it was just overly too hard. Like, come on now, you got to give a bone to the re. I mean, obviously, I want a good solid challenge up in there, but some of those things, have you done the barrel blasting levels? Have you done some of those minecart levels? Like, some of those they had to do over and over and over. They strategically put those balloons in certain spots where you know you're going to wind up dying over and over, just so you can be able to try it again and again and again. It's kind of like doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Though I say Donkey Kong Country Returns, I think they tried to return back to where its prominence was within, the original three games in that trilogy. And while yes, it is a fairly good platformer, I still think it kind of pales in comparison to what was already previously established within the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy. I'll leave it at that. My time is up.
Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna say, let me collect myself. Mm, so first, like about the final boss, the hands thing, like the being like the head and hands. It's not even a like people make a big deal out of it, like that it's overused, but like there's nothing bad about it. Like it's a fun boss, and they use it to make an interesting boss at least, and I like the design of the tiki mask itself. About the difficulty like of the game, like about the balloons, I think the game is perfectly balanced difficulty wise. They let you buy more lives. You have the banana coins as a nice way to make collecting bananas less repetitive, and also like the game's harder. Like I genuinely think they did a good job at making the game harder than like the original classics without making it kind of annoying. Like some level DKC 1 and 2 kind of have annoying levels where like, you lose Diddy for half of it. While I like how you have like 2 health for Donkey Kong, 2 health for Diddy Kong. It makes it a lot less punishing, and also Diddy Kong's a lot more useful in this game for platforming. It encourages you to get good at the levels. And yeah, there's those challenge levels exist for a reason. They exist to give you a little bit more of a challenge. Because like I don't know, every world has a couple hard levels, but then you have some pretty easy ones mixed in there too. The real challenge comes in collecting the puzzle pieces, which are like a really good way to gauge the difficulty. Um, I I don't know. It's I have a lot like when I play this game, I really just I love this game just as much as DKC 1, 2, and 3. I don't see any way that it's a downgrade compared to those necessarily. Like on the original ideas aspect, it's like the original games that, yeah, they had more varied level gimmicks. Like they had like a new gimmick every level, but like some of them really didn't feel all that well used, and some of it felt kind of bullshit. There was definitely some levels in DKC 1 specifically that felt like, oh, that thing hit me and I didn't even see that coming. That was more trial and error more than anything. Um, this game, at least, like with widescreen, you can see things coming a lot easier. I think it's a lot better for that. And it's got snappier controls so you can respond faster. And the motion controls, it's just simple shaking. Like it's not like the Wii remote, to my knowledge. I never had an input that just didn't work for me. I think it makes it more interactive, honestly, especially when like you're pounding on the ground to make it like open a switch up. I think it makes the game fun, honestly, with the motion. But that's just me.
All right, time.
Yeah.
All right, not too bad, not too bad. It's yeah, man. I'll save it until once we're done with the debate, though. But no, pretty pretty good bounce back right there. Pretty good bounce back. All right, now we had the little small monkey in the room. Now it's time to introduce a real ape up in this thing. I would say a real man, but he is still an ape at the end of the day. We're back to the original Donkey Kong greatness within this next upcoming game I'm about to talk about. I am talking about none other than Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Because this game right here, you said Donkey Kong Country Returns was a good game. I would dare say the Returns label should have directly been incorporated within Tropical Freeze because it did everything Returns did, but proper. Now, obviously at this given time and era, we had a lot of 2D Mario games, and they felt really static at that time, especially with the new Super Mario Brothers one, ranging from the DS one all the way to the one on the Wii U one. However, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is like a breath of fresh air. Not only do you not actually start off on the original island that you are actually on, but like you have these whole new other creatures, different from the tiki ones, the whack tiki ones you had on the Wii, and you have like these literally like Vikings essentially though. But they not only you know kick you off your island, they kick you off several islands away. You have to work your way and progress and get closer and closer back to the final boss, back to reclaim your home. If you're not talking about a thrill rush to be able to kind of, be the main hero of your own story, like it's a very simple story, but it's down to earth and it makes a lot of sense though. Even as you're progressing and you're moving from island to island, you have the sense of progression because it continuously gets colder. You start to notice the environment starts to change. Like you go from some lush tropical jungles at the very beginning on level one, and by the time you get almost close to the final island, like you're starting to notice a whole bunch of eyes. So there is some world building going on between level to level, which you don't necessarily see within a whole bunch of like 2D platformers nowadays, though. In terms of the way how you go through and play through the game, yes, you can play it Wii Remote and Nunchunk, similar to how you can do within Donkey Kong Country Returns. However, with the inclusion of the Wii U gamepad as well as the Wii U Pro controller, you actually are able to do a lot of those inputs via buttons, so you can appease both audiences that don't like the motion controls or slash they just want to play with button controls, or maybe some people that do like motion. You can appease both groups of people right here though. Now, don't even get me started on the soundtrack though. David Wise. I don't know a lot of composers out there by names like that though. But I do happen to know him because the music is freaking phenomenal up in here though. And don't even get me started about the underwater levels. Most water levels, when you're underwater and stuff, you're moving around, you don't have a good sense of flow in terms like your traversal and stuff like that. But at least within these Donkey Kong Country games, it just feels natural. Even with the music that you're underwater and stuff is really cool. Even when you're going through and playing through the levels themselves, though, the type of progression that you have between the foreground and the background, from that Mario games lack, but something that Donkey Kong games in general do they overachieve in them. Like literally one of the water levels in particular, there's one with an octopus and stuff, then they're kind of moving around and stuff. Obviously, you start off the level kind of calm and stuff. Then the storm starts to rage on. You start to notice some tentacles here. You start to notice like the eyes of the octopus appear here, and before you know it, you have like some kind of quote unquote mini boss challenge towards the very end though. So you have like distinct themes that are available within each one of these things. Within Tropical Freeze, hey, you can play as, with the inclusion of, obviously Diddy Kong. You also have Dixie Kong up in the mix, and you also have even Cranky Kong. Shoot, didn't even mention Funky Kong. You have that new funky mode up in there on Switch. Hey, that should win the debate right then and there. I'm just gonna leave it a buck 50 though. But yeah, overall, there's a lot of cool things that you're able to do within each one of these games or each one of these levels as you're progressing through this game. Man, the challenge is good. The barrel blast levels, like the down, 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 down. Like there's so many good things within those levels. The minecart levels are so good as well. Like you get a little bit of variety. It's like walking to a buffet. You never know exactly what you want to eat though. But Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a freaking phenomenal game, and I just think that they excel in everything they do. All right, that's time.
That's good. I definitely, I'm not gonna be stupid here. I like Tropical Freeze. I definitely do. So like, I like both of these games, disclaimer. But like, pretty good. Just to make sure though, are we talking about the Switch version or the Wii U version?
I was talking about the Wii U one in general. The only differences between Wii U and Switch is the inclusion of funky mode. But I mean, I mean, you can talk about the Wii U version. I was mostly speaking from that version.
Yeah. I like how that will bit off topic for a single second. I like how that game just does not use the gamepad at
Oh
all.
yeah, no, it's just kind of meant for like if
Nothing.
you can also play it like with your TV turned off. But yeah,
But yeah. All right, so I'm gonna start. So,
all right.
Tropical Freeze certainly did a lot right, but I think there's a couple things about it that were lacking. First things first, I think the enemy variety and the theming could have been done a little bit better, like with the whole Vikings like taking over, and like, you see them on like all the other islands that they've presumably already taken over. But, like, I feel like just the enemy variety between those gets a little old fast. Like, the owls are always the flying enemies, the penguins are always the ones on the ground. Like, I feel like it also like, it doesn't really blend in as nicely as it does in the Returns. It feels a little jarring once in a while with, like, just the enemies. I definitely, for the back to the music thing, like, I I don't know. I like the music in Returns more. I think there's some great tracks in Tropical Freeze, but I think Returns, those tracks feel like they feel a lot more bombastic with like the impact. Like Tropical Freeze has more variety in its soundtrack, but I think Returns just has better songs in general. Like especially for those Rocket Barrel levels, I think the original one was Gear Getaway. I think Gear Getaway, like the original, is like the best version of that track, for example. Bosses in Tropical Freeze, like I I can't with the bosses in Tropical Freeze. I cannot. Like I think most of them are just trial and error, annoying BS, and some of the they don't give you that much health going in. Like yeah, you can get health from them, but when I revisited that game a couple months back, some of those bosses were kind of annoying. Like the owl fight in World 2, the polar bear in World 5. The final boss, I think, is boring. I don't like the final boss that much in the game. And, for a game, must be honest, for a game I do like I like when games end with like a nice ending to cap off a really good like everything else. But that game just kind of ends with a little bit of a whimper, in my opinion. Like, they build up the final boss, but like it's not even that like cinematic or crazy like some of the other ones are. I'd say like the first boss battle is the most interesting one, like against the seal or whatever. I think that's the most interesting one. It does more stuff with the camera, all that, but like no other boss kind of follows in that one's footsteps. Other stuff, I'd say, um, visually, like the game visually, I think just in general, I'm gonna say this about the whole game. I think it's obviously a sequel to Returns, but like I feel like it was a little too derivative. I think it would have been cool if they, increased the move set potential or anything. Like they had the potential to really change up what Returns did for the better, like how DKC2 did have a lot of additions compared to the original. Um, like, I think adding the different characters was cool, but I don't know, I kinda wish there was a way to swap. Like, I wish, like, Donkey Kong or I wish you could
Time's
play
up.
as Diddy. Okay, there you go. I definitely think the different characters could have been done differently.
All righty. All right. All right. Pretty good. Pretty good rebuttal. All right. Here we go.
I'll be honest, not much I could say. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, this game's hard to criticize.
All righty. All right, so you said on one of them, you said you wish that the character or your closing argument, you were saying how one some of the characters it could be a little bit more diversified. I don't know how much more diversified you can get in terms of you having Donkey Kong, who basically can do your general meal stuff like your barrel rolls and stuff like that. Diddy Kong working the jetpack, working with the glide. Obviously, you had Dixie Kong over there being able to use a ponytail to get a little bit of a little boost in the elevation stuff. Cranky Kong played completely different. I feel like because of his pole it's cane pole burst, whatever you want to call it. It literally allow you to bounce over spikes. I don't know how much more creative you're going to get with that within a platformer where most of the spikes are going to hurt you or kill you and let that be the end of your game though. And then obviously, funky mode's there for a lot of people that, just are having a tough time with some of these, more so difficult levels, just that, be fair to everybody and stuff like that. You did mention about the final boss. And while yes, the final boss might not be anything super flashy at the end of the day, it really does go back to challenge how well your platforming skills are. Like literally, you have moments where the ground is frozen, where it's easier to slip up on and run into or hit one of the obstacles in the way, though. And then it literally allows you to, where he jumps on some of the parts of the pass and actually manages to sink certain parts of the floor into lava. So then you're really working within tight windows and stuff. So it really just kind of puts in the challenge of everything you've been doing throughout the whole entire game and seeing how well you're able to do it, though. Obviously, you mentioned about how you kind of wish how some of the characters, like the enemies and stuff, they did a little bit more different stuff about being on ground and stuff. But I think as you work closer to the Donkey Kong's home, and starts to become icified and stuff, you'll have those penguins and stuff slipping and sliding on different things. Like those things a little bit different when they're getting closer to what is their home turf once they kind of blew over that island with a blizzard and stuff. So they do change a little bit on the way. That's not nothing drastic or anything though, but the diversity is still there nonetheless though. And honestly, I feel like while yes, it is a sequel to Returns, I just think they did everything so much better. There's a reason why a lot of people out there will say, hey, when it comes to Donkey Kong games, honestly, people are gonna have 2 games that are gonna come into mind: Donkey Kong Country 2 and Tropical Freeze. There's no contest usually with any of the other ones, just because of how well this soundtrack was in this game, how good the platforming was, the challenge and the crave up in there. Yes, you had levels that were good and easy for everybody to do up in there though, but yes, you did have some tough enemy levels up in there as well. You did have the shops up in there that allow you to kind of get and have different assisted abilities and stuff that allow you to go through the game, like such as you buying a balloon and stuff. If you fall down, it can float and bring you back because they know that some things are going to be a little bit tough though. So you might need a little bit of assist or a little wingman up in there though. But nonetheless, though, I still think Tropical Freeze is still a really good game. It can still hold up to the test of time. And gosh dang it, Nintendo, please give me a sequel to this well known, beloved game. Well known, beloved game. I'll leave it at that.
I agree. We do need a new Donkey Kong game, whether or not it is returns closer to returns or moves forward more in the vein of Tropical Freeze. We need a new Donkey Kong game. We can both agree on this, right?
Yeah, we can both agree on this. All
What
right.
do you think it should be a 2D or a 3D? Do you think
No, it probably should be 2D, but I'd love to see a new crack at a 3D.
because I don't know, if we're talking about 2D platformers on Switch, we've gotten a lot. We've gotten a lot of nice ones.
Oh
Mario
yeah,
Wonder I feel like Mario Wonder just coming out and revolutionizing how Mario games are supposed to be structured, and also with Retro Studios being occupied with Metroid. I think it'd be time for Nintendo's studios themselves to finally give Donkey Kong another try.
yeah, I definitely
They're
agree
in-house.
though.
Because, it's weird. If you think about it, Zard, Nintendo themselves haven't made half of the fucking Donkey Kong games people care about.
Yeah, I don't know
I
what
think I
Nintendo is
think it was
thinking.
I think it was Donkey Kong Jungle Beat was one of the only mainline Donkey Kong games that was made by them.
Mm.
The originals, like obviously Donkey Kong on arcade, Donkey Kong 94, great games like that. Like those were made originally by Nintendo, but then once Donkey Kong Country hit,
It was
Rare
just
kind of
mostly
handled
rare.
all of that. Yeah. And I
That's
honestly think we're due for some new developers to try out Donkey Kong.
I say
Even
give the crew that made Mario Odyssey, let them work on a new Donkey
yes,
Kong game. I think we'll be
especially
cooking then.
with how unique that game is and the animations, you could make Donkey Kong super expressive, which both me and you can admit, like, I don't know, he's not that expressive. Like the movie Donkey Kong's really expressive. I
Yeah.
think that'd be a great way to go with him, honestly.
Yeah, so that's basically it in terms of our debate. So if you haven't been live here watching this here with the podcast, I did manage to drop a link to our voting poll where it'll take you over to my community page where you're actually able to vote on which one do you think is the better Donkey Kong game, whether it be Donkey Kong Country Returns or whether it be Tropical Freeze. And then for those that happen to be watching this podcast after the fact or might be listening to this on audio, I'll leave a link down in the description box down below that'll bounce you to the community page where you can make your vote, or it should be down in the show notes below if you happen to be listening on one of my audio platforms of choice. But yeah, honestly, really solid debate here, Steven. I honestly thought you were going to choose Donkey Kong Country too. It would have been really hard for me to nitpick that one and debate that one. I'm surprised you did it because if you would have did that,
Uh,
oh, I wouldn't have been
Retur- Ro-
disappointed which one would have
Ro-
won at that
Ro-
point.
Returns is my childhood Donkey Kong game. I had to represent, dude.
Man. Mm. Yeah,
I had to
my
represent.
childhood one was Donkey Kong Country 2. Surprisingly on the GBA, not even on the Super Nintendo. But it was still good on that one regardless. But dang.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, all right. Well, that's going to basically do it in terms of debate. Make sure to, leave your vote down and say which one of us debated whichever game you thought deserved to win, though. But that's going to basically do it in terms of this one segment right here. So we'll go ahead and move over to the next segment, that being what Shoot, I almost lost my train of thought. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and talk about, our that's why I've been messing up on this thing. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. All right, what you been playing? Doggone it, that was a rough transition. All right, Steven. So lately, at least for me, I've been going through and playing a lot of Ace Attorney. What is it? Dual Destinies? I think it's the name of the one I'm playing. Basically, Ace Attorney 5. That's the one I've been playing a whole bunch of lately, though, because I think since I concluded Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I just been kind of on a fix with this and trying to get the second game out of this trilogy because obviously Nintendo ain't releasing a lot right now. Sony ain't really releasing a lot right now. So I'm just kind of trying to go through my backlog and trying to finish up a whole bunch of games and stuff. So it's been mostly that. I did a couple more rounds of some F-Zero 99. And I've been playing a lot more Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I don't know. I just had that craving of an inch to play it a little bit more so, but that's the games I've been going through and playing though. But I'm getting a good kick out of the Ace Attorney one right now, though, because I don't know, it's just the way how they handle the animations and stuff, the way how you had those anime cutscenes up in the middle of it, and being able to juggle back and forth between Phoenix Wright, Hollow, and then having the new girl on the block, Athena. Do you know, Steven, Athena in this game is literally 18 years old and is an attorney up in this game?
Uh, well, I don't know, you'd probably have to skip some grades, but, like, I guess so,
She
yeah.
did. She skipped 3 games or not 3 games,
3
3
games? Yeah.
grades. Yeah, she skipped 3 grades and was studying over there in Europe, and I guess that's how she managed to get her degree and then come over here to America or something like that. I was like, "Wait a minute now, that shouldn't even be possible," but he doing some weird stuff in this game though, but I thoroughly enjoy it because I don't play a lot of visual novel games though, but Ace Attorney just happens to be the one game series for me, but that's what I've been playing lately. What about you, Steven?
I have been playing a couple things. I was playing Pizza Tower, the other day because they added, like, a two-player category to that game, so I was playing two-player Pizza Tower with Yoshi, like, going for a world record. Uh, we were doing speedrun, obviously, and we got a pretty good record, and then we got beaten by 8 minutes, like, 2 days after. And it was by one of the people that has a world record in the game in a different category already. So we were like, "Nope, it's over." Besides that, I played this nice little indie game called Buckshot Roulette, where it's
Buckshot roulette? The heck?
yeah. Basically, the easiest way I could describe it, Zard, is imagine if Russian roulette was a strategy game. Like you and the enemy take turns playing Russian roulette. Like the game, you know what Russian roulette is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you take turns with Russian roulette, but they add items. Items such as, well, there's health in the game. When you get shot, you lose health. There's an item that gives you double damage. There's one that lets you see what the next bullet inside of the gun is. There's one that lets you shuffle the bullets, like stuff like that. So they
Hmm.
add like items where you take turns, and the game rewards you for taking a risky. Like if you shoot yourself and it's a blank, and you don't get hit, you get to go again. It's basically just a game of strategy and patience at that point. But it's a small little indie game I got for like $2. And it's a short game, but like you could play it again. Like, there's like an endless mode basically where you can keep racking up money by playing the game over and over. Like in-game money. No, but that's a fun indie game I was playing. Besides that, this week has really been the 3DS and Wii U week. Played some more Pokemon Platinum. I'm up to the fifth gym, the water one. Crash or Wake or whatever.
Yeah, Crusher Wave. Crusher
Yeah,
Wave.
I'm up the Crasher Wake. I've been playing. Well, if we're talking about other 3DS games, I downloaded some. I played the 3D Classics version of like Excite Bike and Kid Icarus, and those games are so much better on the 3DS than they are on NES.
Oh, the
Like
3D classic ones. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Excite Bike on 3DS is honestly like the best version of that game. It's pretty fun.
I remember having Excitebike on the Wii. That's how I got introduced to
Oh
that
yeah.
series.
It's
Uh,
still good, but the
yeah.
3DS version is just widescreen. and it's like, it has the 3D. Even without the 3D effect, there's just more layers to it. It's very nice. And if we're talking about Switch, I have to play more of it, but Princess Peach Showtime has been fun.
Wait, how far are you in that game right now?
I got to the second world. I haven't played it in a week, but like
Okay.
what it's just because a lot of stuff happened, and the 3DS and Wii U thing kind of came back up on my radar way too late. If we're talking about the Wii U, I played some Splatoon. I played some Smash Wii U. Mario Maker was, like I said, it was my childhood. I went back, played some of my old levels, played some of my favorite levels that other creators had made. Uh, because when I loaded up the game, my levels on my old account were there. It was fun to go back and look at them and think, oh wow, these sucked.
No, yeah, some of them did suck 'cause I suffered them on the stream. Even that first one I
Well,
played
they
for
were
you, and I was like,
hard.
"Bruh,
Well, like I still I
30%
still
clear rate my butt."
I still like some of them. Like the Waluigi one I like, but I
Now the
back then I was
Waluigi
way
one, that was cool.
no,
That was cool.
the
I
way
liked that.
way I was way too focused on difficulty was the issue. Like I was way too focused on making like an endurance level that was like pretty hard to beat. While in Mario Maker 2, I realized, wait a second, I want to make a level that people will beat and like. So I
Which
made
is
like
a
a
shame because I unlike the 3DS version of Mario Maker, you can still share those. You take that system somewhere. Can't really
yeah.
share those Wii U ones you made unless you're gonna haul your whole system to somewhere. Like, bro, yeah.
Yeah, like I guess Mario Maker 3DS, it was very confusing at the time, but looking back on it, it's probably the version of that game that will survive longer.
Yeah.
Like, even because the only thing about Mario Maker 3DS, Zard, if you remember, like the new Super Mario Bros. Style looks really, really bit crushed. Or like, like pixelated. Because you're taking new Super Mario Bros. U and putting that on a 3DS, while every other style is just pixel stuff. It doesn't really look all that great. But
Yeah.
Mario Maker 3DS also has a 100 level single player. So it's going to live just on that alone. It gives you a lot of good ways to like, like, oh, this is how you could use these items.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. I've been playing Fortnite, but you don't want to hear about that. Just know I've been playing Fortnite.
When is there gonna be a time when you're not playing Fortnite? Is the better
Well,
question.
what can I say? They're doing a whole Avatar event right now. They just added Korra, and now they're gonna be adding Aang and like the rest of
Wait,
the team
hold on. They put
Avatar.
Korra in first before Aang?
Well, because Korra is part of the battle pass, and they put Korra
Nah,
into like
they messed up. They should have put Aang in there first. I
well,
don't
it
care
doesn't
what
really
people
matter.
say. Aang is better than Korra. I'm
Well,
sorry.
they're putting Aang in, but the reason why they held on to Aang is because he's gonna be part of like its own mini battle pass, where like you level it up and you can unlock Aang.
Mm.
That's different. That's the whole reason why they're doing it. I think is because they could like they could have Korra be like the big cosmetic that comes out one week, and then they could like
They
kind
just
of
literally put her first because she's a woman. Let's keep it real, Steven.
well that I don't think it matters. I don't know if you're talking about diversity in the battle pass. I guess yeah maybe like they kind of like having like a good balance of female and male characters in the battle pass in Fortnite. Just because you're selling that thing to like a wide demographic. You want to make it like pretty like pretty good bang for your buck no matter who you are.
Hmm.
But
All
yeah,
right.
core like it's fun. They added like water bending as an item in that game, so you can like shoot these
Does she
ice
even bend
projectiles.
all four of the elements up in there or
So,
no?
well, no, she has like because in Fortnite, it's like you don't they don't just add like all of the avatar powers, but like when the actual avatar event starts in like a week, they're gonna be adding like the other types of bending as items you can find on the map and use as any character. But yeah, her emote and her she has an emote of her like bending all four of the elements and like stuff like that. Like they do reference that she is the avatar, obviously. I like Korra, but like not enough to where like I was excited about the skin. But like the Avatar stuff, like Aang, Zuko especially, I'm looking forward to buying those skins
Okay. Okay.
and just seeing them shoot, seeing Toph with a gun is gonna be a little bit of a
What the
like a
she
not
blocked
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, she could feel where people are.
feel where people are and lock and
Yeah,
load that thing and shoot the
yeah,
bullets and then they jaw, she gonna metal bend them to the
yeah. It's just aiming the gun is the hard part.
oh shoot. Good man. If you could actually do that, man, that would tempt me to actually just mess around with that game. Had nothing
You'd
really
have to buy
been
you'd have to
uh
buy the skin, obviously. Yeah,
oh
that's the only thing.
no, man, I ain't got money, bro.
Well, yeah, I know.
That's the reason
Yeah,
why I don't play Fortnite. I don't
well, that's how they get you. But like at least for me, I don't even care. Like even if I didn't have the skin, like the game itself, I have fun with. But yeah, like that's all that's been happening in that game really. Fortnite always does stuff to get people playing again. Like they have like rumored Final Fantasy collabs, One Piece collabs. There's stuff like that they have in the horizon that is gonna get people back.
okay, okay. Well, I guess that about does it in terms of our gaming, what we've been up to lately,
Oh
though.
wait,
Oh,
did you
was
say
there
what
one
you
more
were
thing?
playing?
Oh, I said that first, Steven. Have you
Well,
already
like
forgot?
well no, you said like you said a
I
couple
said
things. I
Ace
just didn't know if you
Attorney. I've
played
been
it.
playing some
Yeah.
Ace Attorney, Smash Brothers, and a little bit of F Zero sprinkle in
Oh,
there.
was that it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, those were my main three I've been playing. Obviously, every
Oh,
Sunday, I feel like it's every Sunday. My family always wants to play Mario Tennis on the 64.
well,
So
that's good. Mario, that's not a bad choice. I was just gonna say, like, did you go back yourself and visit any single player like 3DS or Wii U games
oh,
or
and then
not?
obviously
Like
there that's
while
that
while you
too,
were
but not
while you
single
were checking the
player.
online.
Not single player ones, no. It's been
Okay.
mostly anything multiplayer, so it's like, well, within the past couple weeks, yeah, we messed around with Kid Icarus Uprising, obviously Smash 4, then there was Splatoon, and then Mario Maker, and I think that's about it. I was just trying to capitalize on the games that were gonna lose some online features. I can always go back to the single player stuff and play it anytime. Like Dragon Quest 8 is still gonna be up there on my system whenever I get around to, playing that game. But yeah. But yeah, that's gonna
Yeah.
basically do it in terms of the what we've been playing here lately, though. I probably would have transitioned and would have shut everything down, but I did watch one cool movie. I got to give my 2 cents on, so we're gonna go ahead and go over to the last segment, that being so about that show.
Movie review.
All right, so lately there's one movie I got to talk about and give my 2 cents up on there, though. But lately, it was last Tuesday. I went and watched the Godzilla X Kong movie, The New Empire, and oh shoot, that was a great experience right there. I do say so. My Steven, have you seen this movie yet or no?
Of course not. Okay. So I was gonna mention this when we were talking about like the movies we watched. Have you ever watched Shin Godzilla, which came out like in like
No,
2016?
I remember hearing about that one, but I never got around to watching it.
So it was the first like I was watching it the other day in a different server, and that was the first Godzilla movie I've ever watched, by the way, for
Really?
context. Yes.
God,
Yes, it
dog.
was. So I watched that and I really liked it. It looked really nice. The human characters didn't annoy me at all, which really surprised me. It was a fun movie. And then, I went to and then we watched Kong Skull Island after that.
Oh, so
Because I
you
was
did
like,
watch that one? Okay.
yeah, Kong Skull Island was pretty good. Samuel L. Jackson's character was really like I did not like him at all.
Hmm. Okay. I
Like
mean, it's
like
hard to see
obvious
him play the villain role up in that, which I
I
think he still did a cool job. I mean, it kind of
but
seemed a
like
little bit out of his character from what he's been kind of known for, but
It's not even that. The problem wasn't that he was a villain. It just feels like he turned into a villain at like the last second, and it was extremely like petty. Like just like I want revenge on this thing because it killed my men, even though getting revenge on this thing will surely kill the rest of my men.
that dude was
Like
going savage up in that
you know
movie.
what I mean?
Man, I mean,
He could have came back with an army.
hmm, yeah, he
Yeah,
could have.
obviously by the end of the movie, like the other people with him decide that like they're not, he's not bad. Like they decide, oh, Kong's not the enemy. But like, he could have come back. He's like in charge. He was like in charge of the whole thing. He could have
It,
come back with like a whole ass army, but then he just decides, you know what? I'm gonna get killed by Kong because I don't want to listen to you guys who obviously are right. Like, he's just, we came onto his turf. I guess because he was like a disgruntled like veteran, so he didn't really understand the concept of like invading other people's spaces.
so was that like the only two MonsterVerse movies you've been watched or have ever watched? Really?
Yes, but they were
Okay.
good. I liked them. I,
All
I
right. So
haven't really
next,
heard. I was just gonna say I haven't really heard the most savory things about Godzilla versus Kong, but like I'll probably watch it.
oh no, you need to. But before, so they almost got you on the right path. You only missed the one that the Godzilla movie that came out in 2014 before Kong Skull Island. I don't feel like it's 100% necessary if you really don't want to watch it though. But the next one
Like
you need to
King
watch,
of the Monsters.
yeah, King of Monster, Godzilla King of Monsters. That one
I've
came out in
heard of it.
2019. Then after that, then it's the Kong Godzilla versus Kong, and then Godzilla Kong the New Empire. So keep rolling with all of those. So it's all of those movies I still think are great. A lot of people would say, you know what, it's the reverse order from like, you know, in terms of release order that people will like rank them in terms of like, most favorite to least or whatever. So they'll probably say the best ones was the original Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, and then they'll say it got worse with the movies though. But honestly, like one of the main pet peeves I think most people always said about these movies, whether it be Godzilla or Kong, or when both of them are in it though, is how much they show the human characters and they don't show just enough of just the monsters themselves or a way how they interact with other monsters.
I think
I
you
think
you have to show the human characters.
you
You
have to, but I think they balanced it perfectly in this movie. Like there was good stretches of periods of time. I won't get too into the details of it because I know you're gonna eventually watch it though. But there were some good solid moments where it was like, hey, I felt like it was like 5, 8 minutes where you were just seeing nothing but the monsters interact. And oh shoot, you probably saw a little bit of the previews though for this movie. Like you probably saw some out there at some given point, Steven. But I call him Kong Jr. Kong Jr. is MVP of this movie. Like, oh shoot, bro. Like it's literally like having Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong up in this mess, man. That was a wild ride with these two. Like, man, I had my whole family over there watching this thing though, and obviously, like, we're all rooting for Kong and most of these things. So Godzilla's cool in his own right though, but obviously Kong's the more relatable character. Like he's closer to having like a human or human emotions that you can kind of relate with then versus Godzilla, who's just like, "Hey, I'm just the daddy alpha of everything. If you're in my way, I'm just gonna kill you." Like he literally just killed certain monsters just because, hey, I can get an advantage of this home turf and use that energy to help fight something else. I just leave it up at that though. But no, overall, I really love this movie. I think they did all of these movies from Kong Skull Island, The King of Monsters, to Godzilla versus Kong, and then the New Empire. All of these movies are great. Like it's always just have a nice, fresh experiences going through and watching stuff that ain't necessarily, within like the typical stuff I normally watch in theaters, like mostly Marvel stuff. But since we're only getting the Deadpool movie this year, I was like, well, I gotta get out there and watch some other stuff in theaters though. So this is like one of the first movies I think I saw in theaters this year. I gotta see what was it? Planet of the Apes. When that one comes out, I think that's the next one I'll probably see in theaters though. But honestly, some really good stuff. So if I were to rank this movie out of 10, I'll say it's a solid 9.5. Really good stuff. Ooh,
That's a high rating.
it is a high rating though. Like literally, I think when you compare the Rotten Tomatoes scores, I think the critic wise it was like in the 50s. But when you look at audience score, it was like in the high 90s. At one point, I thought I saw it say 95%. So
Yeah.
yeah, a
Why?
lot of the fans love it.
Yeah, like I a while ago I did stop listening to Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes. Well, obviously, I don't know if you remember. They literally got exposed for like paying for like getting paid for reviews.
Mhm.
Like
Ooh,
it's not a reliable place to go for your critic reviews.
yeah.
Everyone always acts like it's so important. Like But then you have movies like the Mario movie where people just ignored all the critic scores.
Ugh, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, there's good movies coming out. It's not like last year though when we had like Barbie and Oppenheimer at the same time. We don't have any like
I hate
big event.
Oppenheimer. I saw that movie at one point. I hated that mess.
I heavily disagree. What am I supposed to say?
No, man.
Go
Uh,
watch Barbie. Maybe that's more your type.
Actually, honestly, I probably get more kicks out of watching Barbie than Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, I sat down, watched it for 15 minutes. I was like, nope, I'm out. And I got up.
Well, you watched it for only 15 minutes. That
It was like the
explains a lot.
opening 20 minutes. I was like, this ain't going nowhere. Like for most movies I enjoy, I find something
Patience
pleasurable,
is a
something
virtue.
enjoyable, or something that has me questioning and pondering, like, like mystery movies and stuff like that. I was like, oh, wait, how did that happen? Or
You know,
how
that's
they're
a
going to
good.
get this person. There's some kind of hook in every movie I watch. And I did not experience that within that movie. I know obviously it's more like a documentary, but I don't know. I just didn't vibe with that. Ugh.
I'll I'll change your mind about that movie one
No,
day.
you will
I'll get
not,
to
because
it.
I am not watching that again. Oh, shoot. All right. Well, I think that's about it in terms of most stuff I watch. That's the one thing I wanted to talk about, at least when in this episode. Come back next episode with episode 77. The spring anime season will be in full bloom effect. So I got to go through and talk about all these new names of animes that Steven, you're probably over here like, what the freak is that? How the heck does that have a name title
Like
like that?
I remember the one time it's like it literally reminds me of like stupid Cartoon Network shows like My Gym Partner's a Monkey. Like these stupid ass names.
No, it's those super long ones or those Japanese ones. I'll be like, bro, what the freak? I'm coming up with my own name for this though. But yeah, so I'll talk about the spring anime list coming up here fairly soon. And if you're a fan of superheroes like me, yeah, My Hero Academia is going to be the hot mess, but that's starting in May, not April. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit long. I know they're gonna have some recap episodes, throughout the month of April though. But May, that's when all the crap goes down. So I'm gonna be talking about that because I used to review that series like what was it, season 4 and a little bit of season 5, I think. I actually used to review those episodes on my channel, so of course I got to talk about it here in the podcast though. But yeah, honestly, that's basically gonna do it in terms of that segment. And with all that said and done, that's gonna do it in terms of our or I was about to say pop culture. I'm looking at the wrong thing again. That's basically gonna do it in terms of my Zarcast episode 76. So honestly, really cool stuff that happened within the past couple of weeks, though. I don't know why, but Steven, does it feel lately like gaming outside of some he said, she said, rumor, sometimes leak? Like there was a credible one with Xbox we talked about in the show, but I feel like not too much stuff within gaming news, especially on the Nintendo side, has been happening lately. Like you feel kind of the same thing?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just kind of filling in the voids right here, though. But if you got a backlog of games, hey, now's the time to catch up because I feel like Nintendo's gonna bust one open on us, just like whack us out of left field with a bat and just smash our heads in at some point. It's coming, so I'm trying to catch up while I can, though. But yeah, that's gonna basically do it for this episode. So, Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me at Twitter at Steven Jr. 1231.
Alrighty. And that's gonna basically do it here though. So if you really like this episode, make sure you want to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell. That way you can stay up to date on all things video game related. I feel like talking about and discussing, including future podcast episodes. Obviously, you can watch this here live here on YouTube at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time every other Sunday night, as this is a bi-weekly podcast. Um, while yes, you can actually listen to it live here and also on my YouTube channel, you can listen to it via your audio platform of choice, such as no longer supported on Google Podcasts. So now I have to tell y'all, hey, go to YouTube Music now to listen to my podcast, which is actually a very good, it's a good way to actually watch and listen to podcasts right there. It's a good, it's a good way to watch it. So yeah, you can find me on YouTube Music, Apple Music, or I say Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, as well as Spotify, and then even iHeartRadio. Yes, you can listen to me in the car. You can listen to me on all those different platforms of choice, or my Podbean, my Podbean podcast server, which is originally where my whole hub of where my podcast episodes are all stored at. For no matter where you're actually listening and watching to this stuff at, though. But that's gonna do it for episode 76, yo. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, until my next ZardCast episode, that being my episode 77. I'll see y'all later.